Hello everybody and welcome back to the second day of group stages here at the Six Invitational in Montreal. My name is Intero and this is Kickstar, and we are going to keep things rolling with the winner's side of the bracket here on the main stream. We've got DarkZero from North America going up against Team Empire from Russia, but more importantly from Europe. And they will be squaring off with one of these teams joining both the G2 as well as Space Station on the playoffs starting next week.
It's a pretty exciting match, I gotta say. Empire versus DarkZero. You've got two of the best teams in their respective regions, and a lot on the line, of course. We'll take a look at the bracket so we see how they got here in the first place. Team Empire 2-0 over Fnatic. A big victory for Team Empire, and then DarkZero had to go tooth and nail fighting against FaZe Clan. It was a really close contest, but it ended up going the way of DZ in the end.
Yeah, that was a really tight matchup, and one that took all the long time, all the day, a long time. So many, yeah. I don't even have words to describe it. It felt like it was never going to end. It was like 3.5 hours or something like that of absolute madness. There was a couple technical issues, there were some tactical issues, so there was lots of mistakes committed by both of these teams. Now, with a team like Empire, they had a bit of a step back sometime around, I want to say, Tokonami, and then over the last couple months they haven't looked as formidable as they did from the Six Invitational last year onwards to the Raleigh Major. So if we bring up Empire, you can see their stats kind of speak for themselves. Their matchup against Fnatic yesterday was pretty fast. It was a close first map. The second map was a blowout. Dan absolutely carrying his team through the day. Obviously you need a good supporting cast. That's what the rest of them did. However, just because Dan stands out, he does seem to play better on LAN, you can't discredit the contributions of Joystick, Karzeka, Scyther, or Shepard. Yeah,
specifically Shepard. I want to highlight him for a second because I know he's got the worst stats here represented on these stats. But at the same time, he is that backbone support player on this lineup. And Shepard does a lot for this team, whether it be in droning or support work, and it's important to highlight his contributions apart from the kill-death ratio. So we've got a really well-rounded lineup when it comes to Empire. And yeah, Dan is definitely the standout. Overall, though, they're looking pretty solid going into this match. They've looked the same as we expect them to be to begin things, but their opponents, DarkZero, also looking pretty solid and doing, I think, really well in that matchup versus FaZe. You can see that Hodden is the standout in this case, having a lot of clutch plays and really impressive standout performances when you compare to the rest of the players on this lineup. But again, similar to Empire, it's a really well-rounded roster of supporting cast here.
Worth noting that Hot and Cold is also playing on often thankless roles, so he's not exactly somebody that you would expect to top frag, but on defense is where most of his frags tend to come from. Dan also plays support-esque roles, but he's got a little bit more aggressiveness to him. Anywho, let's listen to both of these teams, hear what they have to say after their victories yesterday.
I'm Hyper, and I play on DarkZero Esports.
My name is Danila, my nickname is Dan, and I'm playing for Team Empire.
We just played FaZe Clan. Whenever we play them, it's always a close match. We should have closed out the first map, but luckily we brought it back and won the next two.
That game was really hard, especially on the first map. It ended with 8-7 score. I was really nervous during this map, but when we won it, I knew that we were going to win second map.
Against Empire, they play a lot more structured than FaZe, so we just need to make sure everyone's doing our job. If we play our game, I think we'll be fine.
A really good team because they have a lot of strats, they have a good aim, and they will be a strong opponent.
They have a lot of experience just running the strats over and over again, so you can't really do much to surprise them. We just need to make sure we're playing really good Siege if we want to beat them.
We usually just focus on our game and try to let enemy play in our game. We just go into the fight without any preparation. We're just ready for everything.
I never personally played Empire, but best of luck to them. It'll be a good match tomorrow.
Nope, I'm sure it's going to be a great game, so just have fun.
I think what really needs to be cemented in your minds is that these teams have never played each other. DarkZero has sat atop the North American standings for about a season and a half, 2 seasons now, somewhere in that window. and have long been considered one of the best teams in NA. They've had some struggles on LAN. You can't say the same for Empire, though. Empire, while sitting atop the standings in EU, have been extremely consistent. This was the team that finished second the Six Invitational last year. They won the major in Milan, the Season 9 finals, and then they won the Raleigh major in a rematch against G2. Let's bring up the map veto for you so we can go through exactly where we're going to play. Coastline was a map that we saw yesterday when Fnatic and Empire stared each other down. It was an 8-7 victory for Empire versus Fnatic, so it was a hardly fought contest. Consulate as well being picked by DarkZero, and well, we'll wait to see what the tiebreak is going to be. There was no Consulate played, or there was no Consulate or Coastline played by DarkZero yesterday. Apologies, there was Coastline. My brain is...
It's okay.
I'm misreading.
But there wasn't Consulate.
There was no Consulate that was played. Ank was played yesterday by Empire. They defeated Fnatic, was it 7-2? Coastline was played yesterday by DarkZero against FaZe and was won by DarkZero 7-4.
But if you take a look further back over the last few months or so, Empire hasn't actually really played Consulate. It's one of 3 maps that they've been kind of neglecting. That's Consulate, Cafe, and Villa. We'll bring up the head-to-head, and we'll show you 2 really star players, the ones we talked about when we were looking at the rosters, Hot and Cold and Dan. Both of these players play in kind of a mix between support and frag. You can see, especially on Houghton, it leads a lot more towards the supporting role, but both of them have been the standout performers through this tournament so far for these squads. And I think that they both perfectly complement each other in that they fill out similar roles.
Yeah. Dan obviously being a bit more aggressive on that squad in the way that he's played, but Empire has shown flexibility on the way they use their roles. Now, both of these teams can be very adaptable, but it's different in how they adapt. DarkZero is known to blow up their composition. They'll run different operators, they'll swap out roles for the most part. I mean, you've got your hard breachers and you've got your fraggers, there's not going to be much movement there. But if you look back at the huge spread of operators that they played yesterday, the number is exceptionally high, one of the highest actually out of all of the teams that we've witnessed. Empire, you can't say the same. Empire loves to run the same 5 operators and make few deviations. They'll attack from the same angle, they'll push you from the same angle, and they'll beat you from the same angle. Will DarkZero be the casualty today for this Russian squad? Which of these 2 teams will make it to the playoffs in just a couple days? Well, we'll get underway with map number 1 on Coastline and see who's going to end up being better.
So here's the tricky thing for DarkZero. I find every time Empire gets brought to this map by a team or allowed to get to this map, it is to the detriment of Empire's opponents. And in this case, that is DZ. We'll see if that's going to be the case this time around, but it's always been a problem to play Empire on Coastline. It's not that they can't be defeated here. It's that they are very clearly, as is proven by their history, comfortable on Coastline. Now the bans are underway. Lion and Habana done away with. Empire will be the ones to ban out Lion, and then we'll see Habana eliminated by DZ. Other than that, very standard Mira Echo. Now, that means that Valkyrie is still in play. On Coastline, she is exceptionally powerful. IQ is going to be an important operator, though not essential for either of these teams. She is likely to be brought as soon as the Valkyrie cams are read to be a problem by DZ, or by Empire, if the half says that is going to be the case. In this case, we do have that Valkyrie, but no IQ.
Something a little interesting with the bans here is that Empire is not super keen to ban Hibana. That's usually their adversaries, Fnatic in particular, and then the other issue being DarkZero banned Hibana too. Valkyrie not being banned is very interesting, because yesterday it was Empire who banned Valkyrie, and DarkZero also banned Valkyrie, so both of these teams have a history of not wanting to either play with her or against her on this map. Empire forgoes a Valk ban, and so too does DarkZero. Instead, it's Mira and Echo, and well, Mira's not usually one of Empire's main bans, so it's fascinating here, on this map at least with Mira, that they would choose to take care of her and get rid of her in this match.
It's possible that Empire just expected DarkZero to ban the Valkyrie, and then when the Valkyrie wasn't banned, they're like, oh, well, we have to get rid of Mira.
Yes.
I mean, it's on Coastline, we have to. We do know, and they figured, hey, you know, why not just play a Valkyrie? And that's exactly what Empire is doing. They're bringing the Valkyrie. I gotta say, Valkyrie's not gonna be as much of a, I think, a game-changing force as maybe a Mira would be, though you could debate that on Coastline. Scyther is going to start things off with a kill. That's on the player, though, not necessarily the operator. His camera was shot right off the bat. Maybe he threw 2 out there. You can see he's using one right now, so it's likely, yeah, he's got an outside cam. He threw 2, yeah. 2 cameras on that balcony, and this is what makes Valkyrie so potent. He's one of the most prevalent information operators in the game. She's been around for ages. People know how to use her. And she hasn't really changed that much since her addition to the game. They moved 1 camera years ago.
Important symbolic kill on the hot and cold as well for Empire to start off. You take the best player that DarkZero had yesterday and you sit him on the bench, and if you can get into his headspace and either contain him or cool him down, then there's depth on DarkZero, absolutely, but it'll go an awful long way. Also, I wanted to issue a correction. I got tripped up with the way that with Hyper in that video and what I had said, because I'd watched the Hyper video before where he's like, yeah, I've never played them before. And Eclipse had said the same thing. Yeah, but they, if you remember, they had, it's when Nyx and Jarvis were on this team way, way back in Milan. So they had obviously played each other. The organizations have played each other before, but a lot of the roster have.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's hard to say. I mean, where do you really draw the line? There's been a lot of change on the DarkZero side. Empire, on the other hand, not a whole lot, if any.
There's another one for DarkZero this time, and it's Hyper to get the kill onto Scyther. A push-up from Dan, very limited bullets left, and he'll be able to take out Skies on that hookah balcony. A missed tracking shot from the Jaeger, and Mint with an unfortunate team kill as Eclipse also goes down. That'll leave Mint as the lone man standing, and the information coming out for Empire allows them to capitalize on the run from Mint through luggage. That'll be it for round number 1. The Russian squad will take the very first round.
I could get one of those pink compression sleeves.
They love them.
They look nice.
Karzeka has one, Scyther has one, Dan has 2.
I don't know what the one for your keyboard hand is for exactly, but you may as well, right?
It's when you play like pool and you get like a shooting glove.
Really?
You get like the leather glove so your cue works better, or a snooker glove or whatever it's called.
I've used a compression sleeve on my mouse hand before. Like I
bought a compression sleeve when we were out the other day.
Wait, what?
You got it. Oh no, you didn't buy. You got it from the. You got it online.
Yeah, I got it online.
Picked it up when we were out the other day. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I picked it up at the office, and honestly, I get it. Like, there's like some logic behind using one, and I'm not going to actually get too much into that right now because I think we've got other things to talk about. But I like their pink ones. Nice. It's going to be Kitchen for the next defense for Empire, having been successful on Billiards. The big thing about the reason why Empire was successful there, in my opinion, is because they got the first kill and then they never relented. They didn't let up on DarkZero. There was constant aggression from Empire. As soon as engagements started happening, Empire kept them happening throughout the round. There was just absolutely no stop. And I think that's one of the things that Empire's always been good at, is if there's a potential momentum shift, Empire is always seizing upon that to try and make sure it goes in their team's direction.
Yeah.
A zero fear is the way that I would...
Empire always plays fearless. The only time I've ever seen them bogged down was that very first finals they made. It's SI 2019, here last year against G2.
It was just about exactly a year ago.
And it was on Coastline, and they were just absolutely defeated after 22 rounds against G2, who at the time it was G2 at peak form. So,
and I mean, that is the map that I think really started Empire's reputation as being a Coastline team. But it did go so long, and they looked exhausted after that. You could watch it in their play if you go back to SI 2019 and the finals, and you look at that, you can really tell that they were just wiped out. And since then, we don't really see them struggle much at all with either A, fatigue, or B, just the way they play. It's a very decisive play style.
So a set of logic bombs that are going to go off now here, as you can see, very limited drones left on DarkZero. They've lost a lot of that information and utility that would come out. Disruption doesn't really net all that much. It allows an entry from DarkZero, though, right as I say that, for Skies to capitalize off of it and find Karzeka hanging out by where that vase usually is. Joystick is on the hunt to find Skies, and while they're both great aimers, Joystick trades about 50 HP, and he knows somebody's going to be over by luggage. Why? Because there's a drone there, but swiftly shut down by Eclipse. DarkZero will have a numbers advantage yet again.
That was a big fight there for Eclipse. The nature of that fight put Eclipse at an inherent disadvantage, and yet he still won it. And that's really impressive to take out Joystick like that. It will also establish top 4 control pretty handily for DZ. They're going to be able to isolate those retake positions. Those are the 2 staircases that will allow you to ascend to the top floor on this map. Blue stairs and main stairs. Once you've got control of those, you can pretty much just do exactly what you see Hot and Cold doing right now, which is bucking from above, trying to force the anchors to relocate. And as they relocate, get caught in lines that are established by other attackers. You can see Shepard is trying to play in a really difficult spot. It's not a safe position. And meanwhile, the rest of Empire are in the main lobby. Again, not exactly an ideal position on a kitchen defense.
No, Mint is over by Service, and if he knows that Shepard is nowhere nearby, then that's troublesome for Empires. They'll lose one of the 2 that were roaming inside the main lobby. That's Scyther down. Say goodbye to your Valkyrie. Dan falls as well, so it's all left on Shepard's shoulders. As you mentioned, trying to play this tough spot. Talks out a toxic canister, but it will not be able to reach the full distance, so he will pick away. But as you can see from the HP on the right side of your screen, DarkZero have taken some bumps, but they're not out of it just yet. The diffuser planted. This will be tough for Shepard. In a retake situation with much of the ceiling above him removed, a window, a doorway, another doorway, he's going to have an awful lot to try to work through. Instead, he'll head upstairs, at which point, if he's able to get a pick or 2, he'll realize that he only has about 15 seconds to work with. Make that 13, and down she goes. Round is over, even if he's able to get a pick, but he's not in this particular case. DarkZero with the provocation inside of Kitchen. They get the diffuser down after isolating the 2 remaining members of Empire who were playing off-site, and they'll tie it up 1-1.
Well conducted there from DZ. They got top floor control, and they did it without incurring too many casualties. The big moment was when Eclipse managed to kill Joystick. That secured that top floor control, and because Eclipse didn't die and had to be have to be refragged, it secured it with still plenty of manpower to spare on the DZ roster, which meant that they could flex their muscles a little bit, extend their reach, and try to play in a more extended fashion. So what did they do after that? Well, they started opening up above the anchors. One key thing is that Shepard's location was known to DZ. The reason it was known, and the reason we know it was known, is because of that drone that was underneath the shelf that he shot just before he relocated to try and retake the top floor at the end. That drone had to have been calling out Shepard's location throughout the entirety of the round because he didn't move from that spot while the buck was opening from above. Now, because they knew where Shepard was, and I'm guessing they had droned out Service entrance, they knew that the only other place that the other defenders were likely to be would be the main lobby, which is why we saw the buck start opening up above the main lobby. Reception specifically. Managed to kill a player inside of main lobby, and then from there, DZ reset the button on the attack and then just went straight for delivery. Isolating that, smoking it, going for a plant, and I mean, it was pretty easy from there on. Good control of the angles from DZ, good control of the top floor. Really like I said, a well-conducted attack.
Yeah. Could be a major victory here if DarkZero were able to steal Coastline away from Empire. And I mean, yesterday in the matchup against FaZe, DZ was not a bad team here, as we saw some I guess you could say show-stopping, heart-stopping style gameplay. When Empire goes on to attack, they are going to be doing much of the same thing, and DarkZero was very likely prepared for this. We like to mention how well-prepped teams are. In this case, you're often hard-pressed to find a team in North America that is better stratted and ready for what's going to come at them, especially against a team like Empire. But the problem is that even though teams are well aware of what Empire is going to do, very few are able to stop it.
Yeah, I would say this is actually really an interesting match just because of these teams. They are the antithesis of each other in many ways. One way I would like to highlight is that DZ tends to prep for their opponent quite a lot and to understand their opponent in depth. And you heard it in the interview with Dan. Empire just plays their own game. Yep. They focus on what they can do. They focus on how they want to do it. And that's what Empire does. They adapt to their enemy in the middle of the match, as you do. DZ has a very different mentality. And this, in a way, is going to be a proving ground for which mentality will be superior in the end.
It was early action upstairs, as it is a defense of the double bars, but inside of Cocktail, Karzeka cannot be shaken off of that spot, as when Firebolt spreads in front of him, he takes 25 HP, and that'll be it. Beautiful play from Joystick on a read. He gets shut down, traded masterfully from DarkZero. so they at least don't lose anything too major in the process, though Hot and Cold is obviously very critical here. So is Joystick. And the fact that Joystick isn't able to make that second floor his domain as he has done so many times on this map, that is huge for DarkZero.
I gotta say, it's really impressive how quickly DZ is transferring this information. That call on Joystick and Luggage was almost instant after the death on Houghton. Really good reaction there from Hyper as well. C4 missing from Karzeka, and that's gonna lose out some utility, but Dan will get Hyper. So now the pressure's on DZ as we hit the last 30 seconds.
Lots of explosions going off here as it's another coming out for Empire, and man, DarkZero cannot get on in. Empire has a chokehold on this site, so it'll force a rotate now. Karzeka goes down and Mint will join the party down below. He's got Eclipse with him. He'll find a second kill onto Scyther, and DarkZero at even numbers, but it's all even more on Mint, who finds yet another. One more inside a kitchen. Can he land the shots? The Valkyrie playing around it. He didn't have a good day yesterday, but 4 kills for Mint in that round. That's a statement to make. Beautifully played, knowing exactly where the Valkyrie is. DarkZero takes round number 3.
Whoever gave that information to Mint is the king of the round there. As you could see the reaction from Mint. Somebody called, kitchen door, kitchen door. There must have been a camera. Either that or he heard the Valkyrie, but with the gunfire going off, I don't think that is the case. Impressive reaction there from Mint. Great communication from DZ. Once again, 2 times in one round, I feel a need to highlight the communication for DZ and all of its spectacular forms. Now we've got a lot riding on this, and that's why you're going to see both these teams playing at the tip top. I'm surprised that DarkZero shut down Joystick as quickly as they did, but I will say, it is kind of predictable, isn't it? I mean, you said it yourself, actually, in the middle of that last round. Joystick tends to just run around on the top floor as Jaeger on this map and just dominates people. He wins gunfights. Yeah. He'll get like 2-3 kills and then he wins the round as a defender. That happens every time Empire plays on this map.
Shaiko does the exact same thing on Jaeger as he rotates upstairs, and because you have that huge skylight, you're only 5 to 10 seconds away from almost any part of the bottom floor when you're up top, so you can rotate really effectively, and as long as there's nobody holding it, which there very rarely is when you're in the final minute or so of play, you as a defender know that you don't really have to worry about too much because there's nobody who's going to be stuck upstairs. Now, if there's a Nomad on the board, you got to worry about air jabs because most of the air jabs from teams, unless there's a direct execute in mind, tend to go upstairs somewhere in or around that skylight. So, but as you can see from DarkZero's lineup, there's been no Nomad place. There's nothing really that anybody on Empire needs to worry about, least of all Joystick.
All right, so DarkZero trying to enter the main lobby. They're trying to deal with Dan specifically, and they will be successful. The drone work there, allowing Hyper to eliminate Dan. That's good coordination for DZ. Once again, I feel like that has been the strength of DarkZero throughout this match. Obviously, it's common for a defender to try and slow down the push from Kitchen, whether it be on a Billiards defense or a Sunrise bar defense, in this case Billiards. But it is still a common push for the attack in the Kitchen, and is a common hold for the defenders as such. There is a player in Sunrise Bar. One of the players on Empire is trying to hold Cool Vibe Stairs, and you can see he's holding an angle onto the Kitchen doorway. That's to support the Sunrise Bar defender. But DarkZero is aware of this, and they're trying their best to pinch on it. That's a missed opportunity there with that Firebolt.
Another missed opportunity, though, from Karzeka as the shots just sail over top of the head of the attacker from DarkZero. Hot and Cold is yet again dead. He has only really had one round to make a statement so far, as Karzeka holds an angle into blue bars and just looks as far away as he can from all those stuns, but it's a flash and then a grenade and then also a Firebolt. Man, that is a hard spot to be in. From below, Shepard is very lucky that the grenade goes off in a different direction. It also misses Joysticks. The 3 members of Empire will be on a wild ride for the remaining 1 minute and 10 seconds. It really depends on the utility that's available from DarkZero, though. We saw both Firebolts go out. Are there stuns left on Zofia? The answer is yes. There's still a Logic Bomb left. There's still 2 Ash Charges and lots of fragging potential from this lineup from DarkZero. You're going to need Joystick to be able to pull off a 1 to 2 kill. Oh, and he looks one way. No, Eclipse! Caught looking as he's asleep at the wheel, and Joystick is able to get 1. Can he go for more? Heads up the stairs and goes towards Luggage to reassume the position that he was at before. The advantage from DarkZero has now evaporated. 30 seconds to go. You'll have to try to flush somebody out. You now know there's one in Cocktail, as there goes off that proximity. There's also a mark on the joystick playing inside a luggage. You just need to isolate him and go from there. That'll set it up to be a 2v2. Very well traded by Mint as well as Hyper. Behind Cocktail Bar, Shepard will have to rear his head. Scyther low HP, very winnable if DarkZero lands their shots. A portion of HP onto the Ash, Disguise is downed. That's Empire winning that one out. Diffuser going off too. You can hear as a C4 connects. This means that you'll have to go in a swing on the suicide rope from Hyper, and he'll just hang outside. Empire managed to take what was a disadvantage and make it their own, and they'll answer back into a 2-2 now.
Well, I mean, that's gotta be all joystick right there. His ability to kill Eclipse without getting refragged is most important, I think, in that round. DZ not holding on to their office, and that's really why that's going to happen. Strange that they didn't have any information at all in there. Maybe the solution would be something like a Nomad in the future, because we are going to see Joystick do stuff like that a lot on Coastline. He is known for it, and he's going to keep doing it until you shut him down. Every round where Joystick is shut down and not able to run around and kill people is going to be a round that DZ probably wins, because they'll be allowed to set up and coordinate exactly how they like to. In this case, DarkZero was not allowed to do that because they didn't have enough manpower on the push. They had Zofia playing on Big Window, and that makes sense if you've got the manpower, if you can isolate the defenders. But in this case, well, DZ couldn't, and it put them in a really bad position since they had their manpower spread so thin. And that was thin because of Joystick.
Not that we want you turning off of the stream, by the way, but I do want to remind fans of both Empire as well as DarkZero that there is, of course, a second match that is occurring on the Bravo stream. That is twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. It's Fnatic versus FaZe. They're currently in the 4th round, so they're just a tiny bit behind us, but not by much. The loser of that matchup goes home. We've already seen one EU team and one APAC team go home. Will a Brazilian team go home, or will APAC get a second representative out in the second day? Well, you're welcome to go watch that game, stick around with this game, put on multi-Twitch, buy multiple yachts and multiple homes in Swiss Alps and fly between them to watch both of those games. Do whatever you want. You're an adult. Or maybe you're a kid and maybe you don't pay the bills. But regardless, multi-Twitch exists. So you can watch both at the same time.
Yes.
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 I honestly think both of those matchups are going to be absolute incredible shows of skill between them, and that's what I said yesterday. The worst part about casting the Six Invitational is that we don't get to really watch the Six Invitational the same way, so.
Yeah, we miss half of it, and then it's just go, go, go all the time, so we have to update ourselves on bullet points as much as we can.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but there it is. You guys have the luxury of, as he said, multi-Twitch. You can do all of it all at once and see the whole great picture. Now, Joystick upstairs, going for the aggressive play on the skylight. Again, this is something that we've seen Joystick do time and time again. It's not uncommon. The question is he going to get caught on it, or is he going to get a kill on it? It's always a gamble for Empire, but it often pays off, specifically on this map, strangely.
Mint is just a little bit too slow. Joystick's position over by luggage is no longer relevant, as the Capitao was on the other side of the skylight and could have picked up a kill on a Joystick, or at least could have engaged in a fight where it becomes a 50-50 at that point. And, well, who's going to be able to succeed? That's the real question. One proximity concussion goes out from Hyper, a second proximity concussion, and neither will connect. Logic Bomb goes off, and the spot from above is Karzeka picks away at Mint. DZ gets one of their own onto Dan, and another for DarkZero, as all this action is happening as it's a charge in through service entrance. SMG-12 in hand. Joystick is there to put us back to a 3v3. So the opening salvo came from Empire, but it has been very even since then. There's still 45 seconds left. Scyther through the wall will get it down onto Hyper. Deagle out. That's not a gun that you want at your disposal. Sounds like a frag grenade gets bowling ball rolled on over. Skies capitalizes. Karzeka through the wall trying for something, but up pops Scyther. Down goes Eclipse. It's now a 2v2 again, and Karzeka will rotate defended to spot it for just a second. But the Sophia's back up, and Hyper with 2 kills because he was able to get himself back up. He withstood the test of time. Reads into it perfectly, and Hyper with a great closeout to that round to give DarkZero the advantage again.
That was a big play there from Hyper and an excellent reaction on the run out by a service entrance. Honestly, you can see Eclipse's face, and he knows it. He missed that nade on the player in the main lobby. He also then wide swung and lost the engagement. And yeah, that's on Eclipse's shoulders. It almost cost DZ the round, but it didn't because Hyper was there to repair things and salvage what was lost. Empire now find themselves at the disadvantage. I believe, actually, that's only the second time in this round. This has actually been a constant back and forth now that I'm looking at it. And one thing that's also very interesting is that these teams are often winning the rounds that they shouldn't.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest story. Over the last 3 rounds, actually, the team that gets the opening pick ends up losing. That is such an uncommon thing to happen. We'll see if that keeps repeating itself. Both of these squads are the type of teams that can actually just go and beat the odds. I think that's what's going to make this match so very interesting. Already, we're getting a pretty exciting competition. You know, it feels like we've had a whole map already transpire, and we're only 5 rounds in on the 6th.
10 seconds left.
On the 6.
6.
On the 6.
No, I said on the 6th, but I can't say it for some reason.
6th.
It's like I have
6th.
It's one of those words that I just can't say. I don't know why I can't say it properly. All right. Don't make fun
I wasn't making fun of your
making fun of me?
your lisp or whatever that was. I was making fun of the fact that you said on the 6th and this game is Rainbow Six. That's all. And then on your 6 is also, yeah, you need your IQ gadget to see that. Very good, guys. They brought an IQ to see default cams. It's the Rogue special.
No, I actually just can't say it, Parker. It wasn't deliberate. I wish I could take credit for that, though.
We're past it, Michael. I was too busy making fun of Rogue.
I'll wear these scars forever.
I don't know how I got these scars. I can't pronounce 6th.
Okay.
Final defense now for DarkZero, who have been able to keep even, or for Team Empire rather, who've been able to keep even pace with DarkZero. The colors are mixed up, though. I actually play with my brain.
They do, yeah.
It happens.
They do that often.
Yeah. So usually, for those that are new, yes, orange is usually on defense, but it can change. There's another firebolt that's going to go down, but it misses the corner. Karzeka just sits and takes a lot of damage. He'll get likely droned out, but there's a mute jammer sitting in front of him. So it's anybody's guess as to whether he's going to get spotted. Very fearful of joysticks. Play on towards at least rather luggage. There's somebody watching that window in case he decides to show up.
This has got to be really perfectly timed, and it's not. A little too late there. Or a little too early on the throw, late on the fuse.
Yeah.
Eclipse can make that happen still, though. I believe he's still got a nade. Yeah, he's still got one, so assuming the Mozzie gets droned out, known to be there. I hope that that call didn't come in from DZ saying that there's no one there, because the nade just missed. Went way too far. DZ still got plenty of nades, actually, not just in the hands of Eclipse, but also for hot and cold. They need to clear this top floor, and so far Empire is being really resilient. All 3 of the top floor roamers still just waiting it out. No reason to move, really. I mean, there's only a minute left in the round, so DarkZero has got to start picking up the pace here, or they're not going to have much of a chance in the round.
Think about all they've used on the Karzeka, and really it's amounted to 70 points of damage. That's it, as Karzeka finally maneuvers out of Cocktail. That's the call. The coast is clear on that window. DarkZero themselves are mid-rotate, and they've split their forces up quite evenly. 2 in Office, 1 in Aqua. DarkZero now also moving over towards the windows of both A and B. So this is a problem if they don't get their trades down right. Hot and Cold is all on his own on a mission above. He misses almost every shot, if not every shot, on Joystick, whose position is located by a logic bomb, and of course the corpse of Hot and Cold. So with only 20 seconds left on the round, Empire will pick up another opening duel. Not a bad stat to have. There's one for Dan as well, with Eclipse taking out Shepard on site. So DarkZero need to push in. Min has some protection, but he knows that he's spotted through Courtyard. He's down to Empire as Dan comes down cool vibes, and the rest of the team just absolutely lock them out. Empire will draw even once again. These 2 teams so evenly matched. It's 3-3 for Empire and DarkZero as we switch sides.
Empire has yet to get 2 rounds in a row, but both of these teams still have the same scoreline. DarkZero and Empire both looking very strong right now. Switching to the other side, let's see what the standard attacking lineup is going to be here for Empire. Looks like they'll be bringing the Capital, same as DZ. Buck, same as DZ. Pretty similar stuff here overall, I gotta say. Look at that team scoreline on DZ, so similar. Not quite perfect, but they're getting there.
One thing to remember is that this lineup is very likely going to stay static for Team Empire because they don't like to make a lot of changes.
And then also, even building off of that, we've seen a lot of variation on defense recently, and less so on attack, which is a very odd thing because in the past it was the opposite. It used to be people would change their defensive lineups, their attacking lineups all the time, but not their defensive. I don't know, things change. Game changes. It's not a crazy thing or anything like that, and it's not consistent. It's just something to keep in mind. Joystick's bringing the G36C on Ash. He wants that ACOG. I agree with him. I think on this map, especially, ACOG is very powerful. For example, Houghton just glanced over the Jaeger in that last round. But he didn't see him. Wasn't using the right optic, I guess.
Could have been using an ACOG.
Yeah. I'm on
What are you doing, Houghton?
C8's got less recoil than it used to, and you can justify it. The reason why it had so much recoil in the first place is just you couldn't put a vertical on it.
Yeah.
And you still can't, but they made the recoil much more manageable.
Well, it's ended up being a close match for Empire against Fnatic. The question is going to be who's the better Coastline team. DarkZero has kept lockstep with the Russian team up to this point.
In my opinion, kind of surprising on Coastline.
On Empire's map.
Yeah. This is the type of map that Empire brings Titans to in order to beat them. You can say that quite easily that DarkZero is one of those Titan teams. And like I said, I'm just kind of surprised that DarkZero has managed to keep this at 3-3. This round right here is going to be really important, and it will set the pace for the entire half. So whoever comes out on top here is going to be in a significant advantage.
Yeah. So the clear above is going to happen over in Penthouse as it's a kitchen defense. These teams have not liked defending upstairs that much. There's 4 defenses of the first floor for Empire, and now DarkZero will start off as well. Joystick has been downed over by Luggage. I don't know exactly what happened, unless it was Skies playing on those stairs, who will now head on up to try and secure, but he knows that there's somebody that's going to be playing over on the window. Impact grenade goes out. Dan is still there. He can be called in to help, but Dan's looking in the opposite direction. He's waiting for Hyper, so Joystick goes down and gets finished off by Skies, but there you go. Dan does look over, call is made, and some damage being done to the leg of Mint's Ella as he just gets within range of Dan. Ella's pick rate has slowly started to climb in this event. Now Hyper finished off from Shepard. There's the firebolt that goes on in, and Empire seemingly wrestled control of Penthouse and now look for Theater 2. Hot and cold punished from above. It's a 4v2 for Empire, so this is the kind of start that you want on attack here. They're able to take command and control with still almost 30 seconds, 40 seconds left.
So now DZ is relying on some sneaky plays. Mint will get one. That's Scyther, and that's one of those sneaky plays that I'm talking about. He was not known in Projector because Empire didn't throw it out. Nade comes in. ADS is already spent. It detonates wide. Karzeka with low HP will die to a single bullet, but he's being flanked by Dan. Here's that flank. Lots of damage dealt to Dan, but he will get Mint. The last full HP player is Shepard, and he's gone. That's Diffuser down. Last 2 attackers have very low HP, and there's only 7 seconds left in the round. This is very winnable for Eclipse. He gets the one coming in from the building. Last one in service entrance. It's Dan. He's going for the rush, but he doesn't have the time, and DarkZero will take the round. A beautiful play there from DZ to end that one out. It was close, but they still managed it.
Eclipse and Mint saved that round single-handedly by their play, and Eclipse obviously knowing it right, getting once again a call from somebody inside of lobby, whether you heard the buck drop from above as the hatch was shot out inside of Penthouse, or just simply that the call was made and knowing that if you're upstairs in Penthouse, what's the best way for you to actually get towards the site? Well, it's going to be that hatch, which is exactly where Mint was playing prone, and then leave it up to Eclipse to be able to rotate out and catch Karzeka as he drops. Empire will be relying on the same tools this time around, and unfortunately for Empire, Shepard did not expect that positioning or aggressive play from the Mozzie of Eclipse into the doorway of service. When that happened, Shepard going down, Diffuser surrendered, that forced a scramble of the 2 remaining members, at which point, as you noted, low HP, the Roni doesn't have a lot of bullets in it. It's a very small magazine, but it packs enough of a punch where you only need to shoot once or twice, and well, that's going to take care of your adversaries here. Really well played by Eclipse. And excellent job as well by the rest of DarkZero up top to be able to stall as long as they did. I mentioned that Empire were somewhat swift. They cleared out that second floor and had the control that they wanted with still about 40 seconds left. That came from great drone work from both the bathroom and then also over from luggage. Once Skies did not know that Dan was on that window and he got punished for it, there was nobody to control that side of the map, and it left Hyper upstairs to die basically alone.
Really got to commend Clips for sure. As you said, pretty much the performance in that round.
Very well played.
Yeah.
And I mean, but the same thing too is that we will give him a lot of credit and, you know, a bunch of praise. But, you know, at the same time, he was obviously being given those calls.
Yeah, he was being given those calls, and those players were very low HP. There are caveats, of course, to that win, but it is a win. And it's one that I think that Empire shouldn't have given away. Now, in this round, we're already seeing some early damage being done to Houghton, but he can heal himself up. Also want to highlight Mint's contribution upstairs on Ella. He's managing to get the kill and then persist for so much time. Oh. Anyway, on this round, Houghton has had to use 2 of his stims already. And he's trying to try and persist inside a kitchen, but it's not an easy position to hold.
As you can say, yeah, not very easy to hold at all. 2 kills from Empire to start this off. That is a swift control of Kitchen, and you continue to move onwards. Now, because Kitchen was DarkZero's, well, they don't have to defend down there, at least for another 2 rounds or another round after this. That's not the site, so Empire have gotten control of a part of the map they don't really need. This is just, that's something else. Joystick's patience. Sitting outside my office, 90 seconds into the round, half of the way through the round, with that G36 with an ACOG.
That's a nasty angle, too.
You gotta be, that's one of those things that just pisses you off.
Yeah. It's gonna get under your skin if you're DZ. We'll see if they can pull off another amazing clutch. Skies will get a good laser beam onto Scyther's face. That's gonna keep things a little bit more in lockstep. There goes mid, though, so it's gonna have to be an ace from Skies. We'll see one on Repel. Doesn't shoot him. Knows one to be in VIP. Goes for the aggressive play. That's the Capital Bolt giving that away. That's Diffuser down on Shepard. He sees that and rotates. He can now hold this. 50 seconds Skies will have to hold in the 1v3. It's doable with the new Ella recoil, but not easy.
And you're going up against a Sledge and a Buck with a completely soft wall over from Penthouse. You've got the floors that are going to be soft, and that's exactly what the Buck is for. You've still got 18 bullets in that skeleton key, so Karzeka's got tons of time to be able to do something with that. Skies will have to out-aim 3 tremendous players, probably the 3 best players on this squad, and if Empire times this well, there's going to be significant trouble. Frag grenade goes in, and that's all she wrote, as Skies had nowhere to go. Empire doubles up on that doorway, and it's a hard angle to play with the Ella. Dan alongside Karzeka, enough to flush him out, and we are back to a tie.
This all try there from Skies, but yeah, he really had no chance in that. Put in a good effort. Managing to get 2. If his teammates had managed to shave away 1 or 2 more players, much more reasonable of a win there to ask Skies to get, but no. It'll be a hookah billiards defense next for DZ, as these teams cannot shake each other. I'm guessing we're probably going to go to overtime on all of these maps at this rate. Now, that last round mostly comes down to how well Empire was able to not exactly hunt the roamers, but more flush the roamers out, force the rotates, and cut off DarkZero's rotates, thus gaining a significant man advantage. I think one of the reasons why Empire is so good at Coastline, and why they have proven to be historically, is because if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's easier to force your enemy to capitulate to your exact style of play or your wanted routes for them, for your enemy, when the map is as shallow as Coastline is. It's a weirdly shaped donut, and you can really funnel the roamers into places like Office, where you see Joystick waiting way back outside of the map, but still holding that Office rotate nice and safe. That's not Empire knowing DarkZero, because they don't. They don't put in that effort to know their enemy like DarkZero does, not like many other teams in Siege do. That's just Empire knowing the map and knowing how to manipulate the map and the roamers that will be on that map, regardless of what team actually happens to be fielding those roamers. So that's, you know, that's fair play for Empire.
Very well put. So, 30 seconds into this round, and well, you're looking at the first contest happening around Sunrise Bars. You've got the SMG-11 in hands and Eclipse staring down both the window and the doorway that are being worked at by Empire. They're continuously doing damage and weakening those panels, but the window itself has not fallen.
Thank you.
For what?
You complimented me.
You're welcome, man. It's because you say good things.
Oh.
Anyway.
Shucks. DarkZero having to use an overheal. Hyper expecting an engagement? There's no one near him. Better safe than sorry, I suppose. I'm not sure what happened there. Hot and Cold hasn't been having a great match today. Eclipse will be down. Mint will be finished off. Mint went for a run out. I don't know if Empire's aware that Eclipse is... Yeah, well, I mean, they finished him off now, so they were clearly aware.
These last two defenses from DarkZero have looked very lackluster, and it was the only victory came from Mint in a 1v3, which is not always something you can rely upon and is very much not sustainable. So, Empire have traded out Dan for two members of DarkZero. This is a hookah defense upstairs, so you're going to have to tussle with those mute jammers and the pests that will stop your advance. Cheeky off-site play from Hot and Cold as he just very slowly gets back in towards the site. And Hyper is down below. That leaves Skies alone in the safety of the site. Now Hot and Cold has assumed the position over towards the doorway of Hookah Balcony. Skies piloting the drone that he has, and he'll bring it on over, likely to watch Aqua, or maybe the window. Who knows exactly where he's going to put it. It appears that he's actually looking out the window, so this might be information for Hyper to play off of if he wants to poke at somebody from Empire playing over by luggage. No, that's not the case. Hyper continuously moves. 30 seconds left, and now it's Skies who will be there, but he loses the fight to Joystick. No, Skies, you shouldn't be losing that one. With Hyper re-engaging, they know that only one member of DarkZero is somewhere in near the site. That's Hot and Cold. Alda in hand, very, very strong, but looking the wrong way as the rappel comes on in. Hot and Cold will need to find 4. He takes 1, and that's it. No more for him. Shepard, the final 2 kills, and Empire will finally win 2 in a row, something that they have been unable to do in this series so far.
Yeah, and I agree with your assessment there, Parker. Honestly, the defenses from DZ have not looked very solid over the last 2 rounds. Empire have been running amok here and setting up the way that they want to. That's the biggest thing. Empire are being allowed to set up and execute the round exactly how they want. You may have noticed, and by you I mean the viewers, you may have noticed that there was a lull in the action there. Empire established the lead, they established control, and there was very little, if any, real response from DZ. Very little effort being put in to try and equalize, to bring it back into DZ's favor. And what that means is that they're losing control, and they're allowing Empire to take control, allowing Empire to put themselves exactly where they want to be. And, I mean, that can work, I guess, if you don't try to answer back. But often it will be the team that puts themselves in that winning position, that are allowed to be to put themselves in that winning position, that will take the round. And that's why we see things like the entry kills. You know how we always talk about how, oh, we got the very first kill in the round, so we have about a 70 to 80% chance of winning the round? That's always it's an ongoing discussion in Siege. Usually if you get the first kill, you get the round. Well, a big part of that is because if you get that first kill and the enemy team doesn't do something to try and bounce back in the round, then they're not gonna bounce back in the round. When you come down to those team fights, that team with the manpower advantage will just win. And that is what Empire has just proven over the last 2 rounds. DZ have not done anything to actually bounce back in. That was a tactical timeout that I just talked over. DarkZero took it. I think it was an appropriate time after losing 2 rounds as well.
Yeah, appropriate time. I mean, you've still got 3 rounds left before we have overtime in front of us. Team Empire ran this same lineup, and, well, they've actually made 1 change here. Scyther is off of Zofia and will go on IQ. Everything else is the same on defense. They had a couple flex picks on attack, though. DarkZero, with the exception of the last 2 attacking rounds, like the same thing as well. Just kind of stuck with it. and made it work. We know that Empire is going to make this lineup work, even if it comes down to the bitter end for them. Match point, if they prove to be successful, will IQ be the secret weapon? Well, we'll see.
I mean, IQ, we talked about it earlier.
What do you think they were struggling with that they would necessitate that IQ pick versus the Zofia?
Empire?
Yes.
I don't think that... Maybe it's less of them struggling. Maybe it's more of them wanting to... maybe they just didn't feel the need for the Zofia gadget, honestly. It's entirely possible that they didn't actually get too much use out of the stuns. And then also, there is a pulse ring brought. I didn't catch if it was a 6-pick or not, but that could be a part of the problem. There was a Mute and Mozzie combination being utilized from DarkZero. There isn't any more. Mute's gone, Mozzie's still in. No matter what, though, the gadget situation on DZ is going to be hindered significantly from IQ. My guess is that Zofia is just wasn't getting enough for Empire, and they wanted to fix that. Or they maybe predicted or saw the Pulse revealed in the 6-pick phase. I imagine that the Pulse was a 6-pick, but again, I did not catch that, so it's hard for me to say.
It's also that Scyther has, maybe he just wanted a change of scenery with operators. He hasn't been having the best game statistically, and Zofia is an operator that does really, really well at that. Oh, that's a hell of a view, isn't it, Scyther? He's trying to hunt the pulse of hot and cold, and he gets baited in so hard. That is the ultimate debate, if I've ever seen one. That's the opening pick that DarkZero so desperately needed after having a rough 2 rounds. With that half of the round, where do they go next?
That means that the Pulse is going to be able to roam free, do whatever it is he wants to do with his heartbeat detector. Though Mint will suffer from Karzeka, who had opened up from above. C4 still in the pocket of hot and cold, so he can punish that buck when the opportunity arises. That is some damage dealt onto Eclipse. Speaking of punishing, the rotation caught there from Karzeka, who has been a really big force for Empire in this round. Constantly opening up from above, again, pushing those anchors into just uncomfortable spots where people like Joystick will catch the anchors. It's exactly what Karzeka's job is. Good job to Joystick capitalizing upon that. Eclipse will get Dan from a hole that was opened up earlier in the round. And there goes Joystick, amazing shot from Hyper. Truly impressive. Suddenly DZ are back in this.
Really well played, leaving the Capitao in a position where he will be vulnerable. He's got utility though, he actually hasn't used any of it. Karzeka will hit the deck and immediately join, but then think otherwise. Now head over towards the lobby where 2 members of DarkZero are patiently waiting the entrance from the Estonian player. Shepard is down, Diffuser going down. Great coverage from Karzeka now, but Hyper can stop it. Indeed he will. He just needs to stand on the panel. 5 seconds, Gumine in his foot. This will be so tough for Karzeka to try and win it. Can he get it? No! It's an absolute shootout at the OK Corral, and they'll both survive, but that'll be the victory for DarkZero. Back, tied up yet again.
These teams.
My goodness.
These teams cannot shake each other.
My goodness.
Yes. My goodness indeed. It was close. It was very close. But I think the match requires us going all the way. I think it has to happen.
Hot and Cold was one of the players to watch, as was Dan, and neither of them have really been leading their team if you look at the statistics. If we can just move past that one. No, Dan is actually tied with Joystick at the moment, unless my information is wrong, so I might have misspoken on that one.
It's always like a few minutes behind.
There you go.
And we have it on the...
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much, Medics. Medics has been doing a hell of a job, by the way. Thank you very much for your observing so far. It's been masterful. I know that I believe it was Dez and Ace who had everybody saying thank you, Medics, but I mean it's really true.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. So thank you. Thanks, Medics.
For a long time, our only real professional level spectator was Marsu, and Medics has been doing a great job as well, coming in fairly recently actually, and coming in really strong. And I'm grateful for both of them, really. think that being able to see the action it's not something that you should take for granted as a viewer, because this spectator mode we have in Rainbow Six is difficult to master. Now we've got 2 people who can do it.
Difficult to master. I mean, it's just difficult to use in general if people don't know.
I was trying to say it in a nice way.
The spectator system isn't hard. It's just that spectating this game is hard. You can be very adept and know this game exceptionally well and still find it to be really tough to capture all the action. So
it's because of the pacing we have in Siege. But I find often even my job is easier to do when we've got a proficient spectator, and I'm grateful for both Medics and Marsu.
Now, one thing that I want to point out in the round that we just saw happen was a kitchen defense yet again, and it was the only successful defense from DarkZero. What happened? Well, previously it was Eclipse playing very safely and getting Shepard when that diffuser went down. It was Hyper in that role on the round we just saw, and basically the same thing unfolded. Shepard pushed in, he got killed because he had no coverage because KarZeka was basically off on his own. KarZeka picked up 2 very important kills in the lobby to reduce the pressure after the plant goes down, but it did nothing to actually help with the execute because Shepard got caught and killed. This really isn't sustainable, and if those rounds are not decided by very impressive clutches from both Hyper as well as Eclipse, then this match is essentially over in a 7-5 scoreline. So 2 great individual performances are really the reason for why those 2 kitchen defenses of DarkZero went in their favor. We now look towards round number 11. Can DarkZero win on a different site? That is the real question. There's a duel going on as 2 members of DarkZero head toward the bottom of the main stairs. The ash of Joystick is at the top, and I think they can smell it. They can smell that it's there, and unfortunately they try to trade out, but Joystick, he's better, and takes down 2 of DarkZero. Shepard also with 1 of his own, and this double bar's defense, well, looks like the bar is closed. 5-2 right now, or 5v2. Empire in full command.
We've seen DZ be in this position before. We've seen the clutch here before, but it's all on Mint, who has to ace. He'll get 2 big kills. He has diffuser in hand. 2 players on Empire low on HP. Only 30 seconds to wait this out. Scyther likely still has his stuns. Don't know, though. It's going to rotate back into the bar. His position might not be known. He'll get a 3rd. That's beautiful. Reloads. He'll have enough to kill 2, but he vaults up, and Scyther catches Mint on that ascension. Team Empire will lock that out, despite how close it came.
I was like, no way Mint's going to be able to take this. Are we really?
Right?
Are we really watching this happen in front of us?
But it didn't. Empire get match point here. Or I say map point. It's always deceptive. It says match point in game. Technically, since this is a best of 3, it's just map point. So we'll see how that continues, how that is moving forward. There might be DZ winning this next round and we go into overtime. It's completely reasonable to assume that's going to happen. Joystick, one of the standout performers with Dan and KarZeka hot on his heels. On the other hand, with DZ, you've got a pretty even performance across the board.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Final attempt here from DZ. Can they get it to overtime? They'll be going to Billiards to try and make that happen. Billiards has never been won by DarkZero on defense. They have gone here twice. Empire has won both of those attacks. In fact, I'm trying to recall now, but I feel like they weren't very close rounds either. DarkZero has seriously been struggling to hold on to Billiards. And I think that's what put Empire so soundly in the lead here. I say soundly in the lead, it's 6-5. Such a weird way this match has been playing out. Things that you would usually expect a team to take and then just run away with, turn into an outright map win. Both of these teams have recovered from those situations. Something like not being able to defend Billiards successfully. That can cripple an entire defensive squad and then ruin your half. The DarkZero are one round away from Empire. And there's a strong possibility that we will go to OT here. DarkZero's going to have to change the history of this map in order to make that happen, but it's definitely possible. If anyone's going to do it, or if any squad's going to do it, it will be DZ.
I know, it seems like this matchup has been going on longer than just a single map so far, Michael, but you put it very, very well, is that, you know, this Well, it feels like more than just one map. Well, yeah, that's absolutely correct. There's one piece of extra utility for DarkZero as a drone gets caught from Hyper, and they'll be able to use that. Opening frag goes to Joystick. Well, the House of Cards of DarkZero on Coastline drop. Well, there goes another's. Hot and Cold is done for. Both Karzeka and Joystick are able to add to their tally already on the scoreboard, and they would like to keep it growing. The IQ for just around. The Zofia of Scyther just narrowly misses out on a kill on Hyper, who heads up the stairway and will now wait to see if there is anybody chasing him, but nobody hot on his heels for now.
I don't see much comeback potential here for DZ. To be honest, based on what we're watching right now, it looks like Empire's going to be able to lock it out. There goes Eclipse. And with still plenty of time to spare, it's a 5v2. And very little chance for DZ to recover this. Hyper and Skies bring themselves back to the bomb site to try and hold this out. You can see Empire are taking absolutely no risks. They are setting up, once again, how they want to set up to execute perfectly onto the site and take, again, no risks.
When you've got everybody from Empire still up with how well they trade, well, you've got a really good fighting chance. But Dan gets caught the other way. He's sleeping on his drone and trying to do some work for the rest of his teammates, who now won't have that information and also won't have Dan at their disposal. Almost a shot missed onto Hyper as he now heads around the other side of the blue bar and does quite a bit of damage to Joystick, but it's all up to Skies now. This is really tough, and he's going to get nowhere. On the Cool Vibe stairs, it was a Cool Vibes kind of match for Empire, as they were able to put away DarkZero much faster than they were Fnatic, at least by a couple rounds, and they find themselves one map away from the playoffs next week.
So, leading into what Parker just said, just a quick reminder, this is a winner's match in the group stages, which means if you lose it, you still get another chance. You'll have to play another team in order to get to those playoffs, but it's not the end of the world to take a loss here. What it does mean is that your path is going to be significantly harder, and you'll come out as the second seed if you come out of your group. This is the match for first seed. That was a really exciting first map for this best of 3, and it came a lot closer than I expected. And I'll be honest, and I said it at the beginning, I'll repeat myself now. Whenever I see Empire go to Coastline, going up against a juggernaut team like DarkZero, for example, Empire almost always wins. It just feels like it's meant to be. If Empire's on Coastline, there's a problem with the ban phase of the enemy squad. In this case, DarkZero got about as close as you could get. Actually, they got as close as you could get, avoiding overtime. But it just wasn't enough in the end. That was a really funny kill, by the way.
I don't know if everything has fully updated here, but as of right now, the only member of DarkZero to go positive was Hyper, and he was a +1. The kill feed absolutely favored Empire, despite how close this match was. It was a couple blowout rounds for Empire, but Hyper had a very good game, as did Eclipse. That FaZe Fnatic game is currently underway right now with spoilers. FaZe up 1-0. So APAC could find yet another team alongside Wildcard going home if FaZe are able to hold out. A bit of a rematch of DarkZero versus FaZe. That would be interesting to see if the two winners are able.
I didn't see that.
The two winners are able to keep this up, with FaZe right now up one map, and of course Empire here now too. We'll turn our sights over towards Consulate, as it'll be DarkZero's pick. Neither of these teams played Consulate yesterday. It wasn't even in the rotation of maps, aka it wasn't the third map that Empire didn't end up playing. I believe that was Cafe Dostoevsky that was set to be played, but didn't end up getting played because they didn't need it, obviously, when it's a best of 2. So let's look at a map like Consulate versus a map like Coastline. What are you expecting to see different here? Obviously, Coastline's a very frag-heavy map. Could you say the same for Consulate?
Yeah, definitely. Consulate's the type of map that will favor aggression, whether it be a spawn peek or a run out on a window. That's why we often see Nomad banned on Consulate. If you get rid of Nomad, it opens up those opportunities for you as a defender to get aggressive on your opponent. It keeps that in the back of the attacker's heads. Instead of just being able to throw an air jab down somewhere and peace of mind to the attacking side, you have to constantly watch it. You gotta put down those claymores, which are less reliable, easier to counter for the defense. There's a lot to say about Consulate when it comes to the aggressive plays that are facilitated by the map's design. just in general, yes, it's similar to Coastline.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a lot of mayhem that can happen as well. It's got 4 bomb sites that we tend to see plays and rotations on, though the Teller's Archives bomb site on Consulate is usually played the least, though there's lots of cheekiness that you can have there, and DarkZero definitely strikes me as a team that would love to take somebody unsuspectingly to Teller's and Archives versus one of the other sites on the map here. There's a lot of ingenuity behind them. I very much wonder about what's going on with DarkZero. Do you think this is a mental game? Now, they came very, very close on the first map. Let's go back to Milan. When they did play each other, by the way, I was wrong. We'll get through this together. I was incorrect about that. In Milan, at the Season 9 finals, they played together, and the very first map they played was Bank, and it went down to the wire. And the second map was an utter blowout, and DZ fell apart, and Empire ended up winning it 2-0. Now, mind you, that Coastline was very, very close, and that was Empire's map. You foresee an issue with DarkZero at this point, maybe falling a little bit short, being demotivated on Consulate. Do you see it being a map that Empire is able to keep pace with them on?
To be honest, if DarkZero had to be thrown straight into Consulate, if they just had to go right into it, right after Coastline was done, I'd say, yeah, maybe they'd be a little demoralized, but I'm pretty confident that BC is going to be able to talk to the team and just get their heads reset for map number 2. That's the big thing. I think that, honestly, I think that BC is probably the right person to have talking to your squad, because he's been there. He's been in that. He knows completely how it feels to be where his players are right now, and he's going to be able to reset their minds and get them started for the rest of this best of 3. If we get to map number 3, it will be Bank. And I think that DarkZero has a better chance on Bank than they do on Coastline. And because DarkZero brought it all the way down to the last round of regulation, I'd say that's a pretty good place to be. Yeah, it's definitely a mental game, and you could see it on the faces of DarkZero at the end of that map number 1, that I think they probably invested a lot of effort into trying to beat Empire on Coastline. That's the only reason I can imagine that they didn't ban Coastline right out the gate. It's because they knew it would get picked, and they were trying to counterplay Empire. Didn't work, but they came very close.
You have to give them a lot of credit for the way that they played on Coastline. There were a couple times where they seemed to be very, very strong, but it was on defense. DarkZero did not look good. They did not look very assured at all. And the 2 rounds that they won, and I just want to reiterate this, the 2 rounds that they won on defense on Coastline came in the last second when Shepard got downed or killed with Diffuser there, and then somebody from DarkZero just simply waited around. That was it. So that is not a place you want to find yourself in. It's not like you outstratted them. It's not like you were in a position where you just did better than them. It was just simply Shepard got unlucky, or there was a blind spot from Empire. You exploited it, but it literally came down to that final second, and there was nobody from Empire to be able to come through. And a great individual play, a good clutch, happens. Clutches happen all the time. Teams win entire matches based off of clutches. But those were the only ways that we saw DarkZero come even close.
Yeah, it was overall a pretty consistent performance from Team Empire. And they put themselves, I think, in the winning position. I just hope that DarkZero is capable of resetting so we can get as much of this match as possible. Because one thing is for darn sure, we've been seeing a really exciting match between Empire and DZ, and I don't want it to end, especially not in a 2-0. That would just be disappointing.
No, not between these 2 teams. I don't really ever want to see a team make it out or into the group stages based on 2-0s. Example, wildcard, they weren't even able to pick up a single map. You don't like seeing that. If Empire ends up winning this map, then they go out of groups. First overall in their group, of course, but without dropping a single map. You don't really want to see that either. It's nice to be able to have an even split between these teams. So, with no further ado, let's look at Consulate between these 2 teams. They have not been played so far here after the first day, but as you pointed out, Empire don't really like playing Consulate. You mentioned that it is one of their most banned maps, least played maps, so there will be some question marks for Team Empire in the way that they play it. But just simply being in Europe means that they have to play Consulate, just because of the fact that it is in heavy rotation among the European teams. Team Empire is going to defend first, just as they did for the very first map, DZ on attack. And the first set of bans will be a Capitao and a Thatcher, joined by an Echo, and presumably a Mira ban. But Mira does often escape unharmed through the ban phase, and this might be a Maestro ban or even Valkyrie with the way that these games have been going. But no, all that speculation is for nothing. It's going to be Mira as the final ban.
Yeah, Consulate is a map that Empire is capable of playing. If you look really far back, I mean, recently they haven't been. It's like one of the more neglected maps recently. It's weird. But if you look really far back, and these stats don't really matter, because we're talking like back in 2018, Consulate is one of the more played and better played, actually, maps for Team Empire. It's just that they kind of haven't been doing much with it recently.
Yeah.
And that's very relevant because Siege Comp, it goes over large periods of time, yeah, but at the same time, the meta and the way that teams play on maps changes so frequently. Even a team like Empire can fall out of favor with a map like Consulate. So we'll see if that's the case here. As, again, in the last few months or so, we don't really have any information for Empire on this map. If you look far enough back, we do, but that doesn't really count for anything.
It used to be one of Empire's better maps until all of a sudden they got really good at Clubhouse, and then they started playing Clubhouse an awful lot, and then Consulate fell out of favor. Remember, there was a period of time where Empire came in, they'd never really played Clubhouse. I think it was against Fnatic, and the people were like, oh, I guess they're not really a Clubhouse team. And then next thing you know, they're like, oh, they're actually a pretty good Clubhouse team. So,
well, the joke is always that Empire isn't really this map team. They're not this map team. They're not that map team. Then you end up bringing them to the map that they're not good on, and then suddenly they destroy you. And I think it's really just that Empire has such a really deep map pool. That's the big thing. Is because of the way that Empire sets up their strategy, they can be proficient at everything because it's just a little bit easier to focus on you than focusing on yourself and everyone else.
Yeah.
So. Or not easier, just less effort intense. Yeah, that'd be easier. Okay.
I mean, the insta-ban for Empire is always Villa, and I desperately want to see them play in a best of 5. I know it's always going to be their first pick insta-ban, but just imagine they make it to the finals of the Six Invitational, and then they just, they play.
It's funny because if you put if you're taking a look at the statistics for maps for Empire over back in 2018. They've banned Villa 56 times and played it one time. One time since 2018. Let me see, wait. Specifically November 2018. They played it since then. They played it one time, banned it 56 times. Their next most banned map is Bank at 24, which, by the way, is the map we will play if we get to the third map. So that bodes well for DarkZero, I guess.
Yeah, and Bank was a map that we saw them play yesterday as well, and they defeated Fnatic 7-2. Fnatic dramatically fell off after that very first map, so some damage being done to both Joystick and Eclipse as the Ashe and Jaeger will tussle on top of yellow stairs with barbed wire surrounding him as Joystick. He's going to get some pressure from the skylight as he sees one of the ADS charges get burned next to him. He'll just sit on that position, and you can see from the flashing lights, there's only one ADS left that is going to be his savior. Grenade ready to get tossed on in. There you go. ADS gets burned. Is there another? It seems to work. And you swing on in, and down goes Joystick. Very first kill of this map will be Hyper. And it will be Empire who got it map number 1, but DarkZero this time. Some significant damage going out. Or at least it sounded like it. From that SMG-11, but no, it's just into the corpse, rather, of Joystick. There's the SMG-11 to finish off the drone, as DarkZero has 2 people standing, one on top of the skylight, and the other on the actual stairs right now, on yellow, watching. Down below in a very powerful position is Scyther. He can creep up at any point and catch DarkZero off guard if there's nobody that's watching from a flank position. Diffuser juggled and go into the hands of Hot and Cold with just over 30 seconds left. We see one of the Valkyrie cameras outside. Information on the rappel that is happening on Bathroom as Mint appeared to be upside down. Still playing behind that shield as Hyper is daring somebody to engage, but it was actually Eclipse on Bathroom who walks right in and then loses himself to a Nitro Cell. Excellent call from Scyther. He's going to look for a run out through the main door, but Hyper and Mint are able to take down 2 members of Empire. Dan jumps out. 2 beautiful plays from Dan, and now he just needs to wait to see if Scyther's able to get there in time for the diffuser, which is caught at the final second once again by Dan. Hyper pistol out. He's not going to be able to do anything. Dan single-handedly winning the round for Empire. And what a way to start the map, and what a way to steal any kind of hope away from DarkZero.
Dan just cheated the round away from A run out followed by a just absolutely disgusting reaction on the player pushing in connector. And you thought that was all. And it might have been enough for Empire to recover that, maybe in a post plant winning the fights. But no, he doesn't let the actual plant go down. He doesn't let it. He just C4s. Oh, wow. The awareness on Dan, just remarkable. That's crazy.
Protect your bombs from being defused.
We're going to go to the bottom floor here. I honestly thought that would be DZ's round through and through. The way that they conducted themselves, and by that I mean DZ, was really impressive, actually. What happened there is that DZ got the initial pick. Big ups to them for that. But following that, they managed to get control of Yellow and Bathroom. Now, to be fair, it did take DZ quite a while to get into the bathroom in the top of Yellow. I think that they could have done that a little bit more effectively. I think there was only 40 seconds left, for example, when Hyper got to top Yellow. That's not a lot of time to work with. It meant that DZ had to go a little bit faster than they would have liked to. Maybe skip a few steps here and there. Anyway, the control was established, though, for DZ, and they locked out the defenders from CEO. C4s came into play, and they really did make the job difficult for DarkZero. However, didn't seem like it was going to be a loss. The setup was still established. The angles were still being covered from DZ. The plant was going down, but then Dan suddenly appeared. A few other misplays, little things. Player and connector from DarkZero decided to rush to try and go for the kills rather than simply waiting it out. That was a mistake. C4 comes out there from Dan. He's a little bit trigger happy with that C4. It does get a drone, so not a total loss, I guess. Who's looking for the Thermite, who might have been going for a second exothermic charge. Anyway, that last round was definitely DZ's. Well played to Dan for securing it. 1-0 Empire. Basement defense now. DarkZero pedal to the metal here. They haven't cleared out upstairs, and you can see that Karzeka is going to be trying to punish DZ from above for not actually going through the process of clearing this top floor. Or middle floor and top floor, actually. You got to do both at the same time.
Is this the first gridlock you and I have casted today?
I think it might be the first
I think it's the first gridlock we casted, period, actually.
At this tournament,
yeah. You and I, at least.
Yeah, it's been, she's not been prevalent.
No, Zophia's been in almost every single round, as has Buck, I feel like.
You know, I gotta say, I think the gridlock would have been a great operator on Coastline for DZ, based on the way that Empire was playing. I mean, we're past that now, but, you know.
Past the point of Hyper as he hits his expiration date. Diffuser's going down, though. Hot and cold. Is he going to get spotted at all, or is he going to be able to walk away with this one? Yeah, he gets spotted. There's Scyther right in the nick of time. And one for Empire as well as Dan gets in on the fun. That's Mint with the one kill, and well, it's him and Skies in a 2v3, but Dan is low enough on HP that, well, he can be felled by a single bullet. The problem for DarkZero is they don't have the numbers for a flank watch, and well, it's Joystick that's about to flank. He's on main stairs getting calls from the default cams that are still up, and he can walk down spiral stairs at any point. Skies was playing inside a Zulu. He'll head over towards Piano, and the moment that he starts bucking away at the floor, Joystick will know that there's nobody nearby. At least if the call can be made as well onto the position of Mint outside.
It goes into White to try and clear someone out from that position. The second one's caught by an ADS, so no detonation. Diffuser needs to be recovered. Joystick gets Skies. It's all on Mint in the 1v3. 2 lit opponents, but still not very likely. 23 seconds to get this. He's made noise. The player at the back White must know his position at this point. And there's the pre-fire from Kitchen Doorway. As the call comes out, Empire will hold on to that round. 2 in a row here for Empire. A solid hold of the bottom floor. And that one goes about as you would expect, I suppose, based on those early kills.
Now, this is Consulate, and of course, Mozzie and Mute are going to be very effective when you have to drone through narrow doorways, and there are crossfires that the defenders can establish if you peek blind, and that just happens to be exactly what Garage is all about. And you can utilize both Dan and Shepard's gadgets on that second floor, too, if you really want to roam aggressively, especially in and around console office, yellow stairs, main stairs, etc. It makes droning it out an utter nightmare. And some teams will just completely bypass the drone aspect and just go for broke, and they will hope they can hold off the flank. I suspect part of that is why we saw DarkZero double up on the Nomad and the Gridlock. They were fully prepared for somebody to come and try to catch them on the flank. When they lost 2 early picks to Empire, they decided, let's get hot and cold to go down and plant. If you are as far off site as Empire seems to be, we might be able to get away with this, but then with just a fraction of time left in the diffuser being planted, Hot and Cold gets shut down by Scyther, leaving DarkZero in a task, or in a position where the task is to win, despite it being equally impossible. So, looking to complete the cycle is Empire. They will be on lobby right now, and if you continue to let Joystick roam the way that you have, to let him get away with this kind of brazen play, taking the chances he's taken, then it's not going to go very well for DarkZero. They have not been able to shut Joystick down so far through these 2 rounds. One
thing I think we should note is that the gridlock experience has, or experiment, pardon me, has been shuttered. They're not doing that anymore. It's gone. I'm guessing that DarkZero decided that after losing that one fight that they were not comfortable bringing a gridlock. I get it. Better safe than sorry. It's better to correct the mistake than let it happen continuously, I suppose. It means those trap stingers are not going to be aiding DZ in this round, which puts more pressure on the air jabs to be well placed. Joystick at the top of yellow. He's going to be able to juggle his ADSs. You can see Sky setting up the nade. It will be caught by an ADS. And likelihood, whoa, it will not be caught by an ADS. No EMP. Thatcher's banned. So I'm not sure what cleared out the ADS. Maybe it was picked up or shot or cleared by something other than what I heard, but I'm surprised Hyper loses that. Karzeka gets the better of his opponent on the window. Still though, the player at the top of yellow is dead. So DZ has an opening.
Karzeka didn't take any damage on that either.
Yeah, not a single shot, so he's not even having a
single lick of damage.
Yeah, he's fine.
That is.
I think he might have healed himself back, actually.
Well, I didn't see him heal himself right after he got the shot off. That's why I was asking, because I know that he's down a stim pistol, but at the same time, like after he fought with Hyper, we immediately switched his perspective, and he had his gun out. So I mean, maybe
not sure.
Maybe just my boomer eyesight here, Michael. Down goes Karzeka though, so the stim pistols are not going to be effective at all. And there's another, as it's a cleanup on Dan, who had been knocked previously, meaning that Shepard and Scyther now are going to trail and wait with a minute to go and just try to hold as many angles as they can, but there's only 2 of them. There is potential with the C4s in hand for both of these operators to stop DarkZero when the execute happens. If DZ can get somebody down onto that basement floor where it appears that we see Scyther playing, then this can possibly be stopped. Rather, it's Shepard. Other way around, Scyther's on the main floor and he actually expends his Nitro Cell a little bit too early.
Yeah.
It appears that there will be a drop, so both members now of Empire will be down below DarkZero's execute.
So it's a retake strategy and a C4 denial. That's all on Shepard to deny this one plant with a C4, and he can't because it's on a position that's not destructible from below. Marks come out inside of A, though. Empire knows where it's going down, tries to make a hole. Eclipse will get Scyther as he rotates up. That's too little, too late, Shepard. And now he's going to have to retake on 4. This should be a pretty easy holdout for DarkZero these last 30 seconds in the post plant.
Flash is going down onto yellow stairs because they know there's only 2 ways up here that Shepard is going to attempt, unless he decides to go all the way over towards Visa, and he's not going to get anywhere near close because Skies goes down Visa, or at least goes down the hatch near Visa instead, and manages to find the mute. Excellent shot from Skies. DarkZero finally puts 1 round on the board. They're going to need a couple now as Empire on Consulate. Running up the score on your map, that's not what DarkZero wants. Not at all.
DZ looked solid, though, in that round. That was a really good execution.
That was a very good, I would say it was a good turnaround as well. After losing Hyper as early as they did, things really could have gone sideways.
Yeah. They did manage to get, I think the biggest thing is they managed to get Joystick at the top of yellow when I didn't expect that to actually happen. I thought that the ADS would catch the nade, but clearly DZ were clearing out that ADS faster than I could have, than I really noticed. I almost feel like Joystick picked it up because I didn't see a dead ADS on the floor. Maybe it's my boomer eyes, but what I do know is that the nade landed. That player, top yellow, Joystick, died. From there, Karzeka, yeah, he managed to get a kill, but that's it. He was dispatched right after. And then you've got control top yellow, you've got control bathroom. Well, DZ can turn that into the entire top floor. And they did exactly that. Managed to get another kill along the way. And now it's all on the anchors. One of them using their C4s preemptively, missing it. The other one missing their C4 as well. Missing having no real opportunity to use the C4 because there were no pre-made holes by the stage. And then it was pretty much over at that point. So some nice tries there from Empire. But DarkZero knowing what they need to do in order to lock things out. It's the first round, though, to be fair.
It's the same cam that we've seen before that's thrown so far enough back that you can see anybody who is on rappel over by spiral stairs, on rappel over by bathroom window, and possibly even on rappel on yellow window. So there's a lot that comes with that, and it doesn't appear that anybody from DarkZero knows where it is. Medix obviously showing it off. Thank you very much, Medix. And of course, now everybody's going to know where it is for future matches when they go to watch this one back. So
I missed it.
Sorry.
I'll have to check the VOD.
What? Our sincerest condolences. So
everybody who was blinking at the same time I was blinking.
Well, almost as if they can go back in time and rewatch it.
Yeah. I'm out. Wait, how do you do that? You guys should see his face right now. So double ADS, Joystick's not taking any chances. Triple ADS all the way, but that nade doesn't get caught by one. And Skies, once again, successfully dispatches Joystick with a nade. There wasn't active ADS. I guess something was blocking it, or maybe the nade was placed in a specific location that could be seen by the ADS. Whatever the case be, we know that the nade landed. That's all that really matters.
Mozzie spotted on a drone as well, so DarkZero's got these drones in excellent position to be able to see the members of Empire, but can they actually do anything with it? I don't know if Dan caught the member of DarkZero that ran on past, but it's actually Mint who's going to try to capitalize off of his own drone. From above, there's Scyther, but he's blocked by the tree and isn't able to do much with it. Mint doing all the work himself. It's his drone. He manages to spot Dan, goes on over, and jumps in, gets the kill. Shepard is down now as well, as DarkZero have control. Down goes Karzeka, 3 kills for Skies. Scyther's down below with a nitro cell in hand. He can stop a plant, but with a minute to go, there's gonna be so much time left. On Skylight Rappel, he sees a member of DarkZero and doesn't actually land a single shot. Desperation C4 as his meeting up top will be shut down. The meeting of the minds? No, it's just DarkZero. They're in your conference room. They're in your console office room. They're in your projector room. They're killing your dudes. DarkZero flawless round.
Hide your dudes.
I'm in your base, killing your dudes.
So, 2 rounds in a row for Empire, responded to by 2 rounds in a row by DarkZero. It was another solid execution there from DZ, similar to the one we saw on the middle floor in the previous round. The biggest thing is that, once again, it started with a successful nade on the player at the top of yellow. That needs to stop happening. I'm sure Joystick is really frustrated about that. Either Joystick needs to not play there, or he needs to figure out how that nade is landing with active ADS standing right next to him, and then fix that problem by, I don't know, repositioning the ADSs. My guess is it's a particular angle is facilitated by him standing on, or the nader, in this case Skies, standing on ventilation, and somehow that just avoids, it just goes through in a way that the ADS doesn't catch if it's placed on the floor top of yellow. And that's exactly where Joystick has been continuously placing his ADSs, so maybe he needs to relocate 1, maybe 2 of them. Thatcher is banned, so he doesn't need to worry about juggling them necessarily. He could just dump them all in.
ADS works on line of sight, right? And technically at that point, Joystick could have been blocking the ADS as he was trying to place the other one. So if it did drop behind him and either bounce on the stairs, then that line of sight was not there.
So technically, I've never tested it. I know that it's line of sight based, but I've never tested whether it goes through a player or not.
Yeah, I haven't either, which is why I'm speculating. Like maybe he just blocked. Ooh. Excellent entry from Hyper. And speaking of Joystick, he's gone. He's been losing a lot of his opening duels here on Consulate.
That was a 3-person kill there from DarkZero. Skies was droning, hot and cold pressured from CEO, which forced Joystick to rotate into the waiting arms of Hyper. You gotta love that coordination. I mean, you have to admire it on DZ. Joystick, once again, not able to play his defensive round. That's the 3rd in a row where Joystick has been the first death.
No fun allowed, Joystick. You're not allowed to be here. You got to heat back up on another map. Maybe on Bank. Maybe we'll see you on Bank, or at least on Attack, or maybe Thursday or Wednesday. We don't know. Some point.
Yeah. But that is an interesting question, because I haven't actually ever tested whether the ADS goes through the body or not.
He definitely had his back to where the nade was dropped on the stairs, which is why I'm assuming.
It makes sense. It's either that, or it was just that somehow the nade arcs in a way from ventilation specifically that makes it so that floor place ADS just doesn't see the nade. Whatever the case be, we do know, again, the nade lands. I'm not sure.
Probably a pest.
Oh, yeah. Probably a pest.
My guess would be a pest.
Pests are so good, man.
Or a mute jammer, but no, that mute jammer is placed very well. That's exactly what it is.
He missed both times, I think.
Both times it hit the drone hole.
Yeah, instead of going through. I think it's because of the shape of the projectile. It's not a bullet.
Yeah.
It used to be, by the way. I'm pretty sure it used to be that ash charge was like actually the size of a bullet, hitbox-wise.
Well, I mean, it's been opened up now as Skies finds Scyther rather, and then also takes out Shepard. He's inside and close enough to be able to take full control. Are we about to witness yet another flawless round for DarkZero here as they've seemingly warmed up? The answer is yes.
Wow.
Very much so, yes. That was a quick one. DarkZero, 2 flawless rounds, and the victory before that, they've now stitched together 3 to take the lead.
3 on all of the bomb sites except for Tellers. Empire has constantly been jumping around here. They're trying to make something work where nothing is. And, I mean, do you think Empire's going to go to Tellers? Do you think they're going to do that? Seems like not, but that would have been interesting if it were the case. This is the last defensive round. We'll see. And Empire will try top floor to make it happen. Empire was successful the first time they defended the top floor, not the second. These last 3 rounds have been really brutal to Empire. I assume the outcome of the round is going to hinge on whether or not Joystick gets picked off first. Because every round he dies at the beginning, his team loses. So that needs to not happen. And that was, of course, the last 3 rounds. Oh. Curious how DarkZero is going to attack this. I'm guessing that they're probably going to go for a yellow take. The reason why I would guess that is because they've been doing that this whole time. Clearing out yellow seems to be the main plan for DZ. And it's been working all right. In fact, it's been working fairly well, I would say. I don't think that Joystick's going to get picked off as early as he has been in the past. I'm pretty sure he's fed up with it at this point.
Oh, maybe not.
Oh no. He's gotta place 1 at least in a different angle, because I'm pretty sure Skies just has the knowledge that we don't on how to avoid those specific ADSs. But remember that DarkZero is a team that studies their opponent. Maybe Joystick places his ADS there every time, and DZ figured out a way to just navigate their way around that specific ADS placement. I don't know. This is all me grasping at straws. I'm trying to figure out why the nades are detonating and Joystick is dying continuously. And I really do think that he needs to reposition at least one of those.
Oh. If you are Empire and you end up losing this one, then thankfully for you, if there really is any momentum, then it gets swapped on over as Empire goes on to defense, or Empire goes on to attack, rather. DarkZero will be the team that will go on to defense. These colors are really screwing with me.
Yeah, they only do it at LAN where they switch that up.
It's really screwing with me.
Oh, he moved one of his ADSs. It's to a place that can be shot, but it's unlikely anyone's going to peek that.
He's also not playing as aggressively on yellow, but if they haven't droned him out, they don't know he's there, and this frag grenade will do essentially nothing. It'll get eaten right away by the ADS that, as you know, can get shot. Instead, the point of the person that is under watch is going to be Shepard inside of the bathroom. Oh, he's in a really rough spot. Joystick peeks, but for a second, doesn't lose anything for it, as Skies is not able to pull the trigger fast enough, and Joystick will maybe go back for seconds, as Hyper has been absolutely fantastic on these opening duels. It's Shepard cleared in a bathroom, and the smoke is down for the count.
Hyper gets the second onto Joystick, so once again, Joystick just not allowed to play around. And he will have to sit on the bench with Shepard, both of them waiting to see if their team is going to be able to end this half even. It doesn't seem likely, but with Scyther, Karzeka, and Dan still alive, it's possible. This camera also is providing very crucial information for Empire.
At this point, it's been almost 8 minutes since, or if not longer actually, it's been almost 10 minutes since Empire's been able to get a single kill when you consider the reveal phase, prep phase, and all that jazz. A swing in here from DarkZero will probably be the easiest chance. There you go, it's broken as Dan takes out Eclipse, so that timer will now reset on the next kill for Empire. They're gonna need to find a couple more if they want to be able to draw even. A swing on in and the defuse ready to be planted by Hot and Cold as he's attempting it. But you know the Maestro can't really do all that much. There's air jabs in play. The 3 members of Empire that are left will need to now work into an execute that's been pulled off by DarkZero, and immediately DarkZero loses too. The timer will continue to run. It will force both Skies and Mint to have to do some great work. Skies, skeleton key out, splat goes the Maestro, he'll fall down, and it's all up to Dan. Starts to defuse. Oh, there goes the Nitro cell. Skies will have to tussle.
Oh, he's reloading!
No! Dan, how do you do that? He cuts him off the wire. He's got the shotgun out. Can he make it there in time?
Oh, God.
He's only got 6 seconds. I don't think he's going to make it, Michael. No?
No.
He doesn't make it.
He didn't make it with 1 second! Oh, no! A second and a half or so away. The crazy thing is Dan shot the air jab too. That air jab would have secured the round if not just the time alone. Dan was accounting for everything. Skies was reloading. Oh no!
Look at the you can tell. It's a nice try. It's a nice try. You can tell they're obviously not very happy, but
yeah,
it was a nice try.
Good effort there from Dan. Yeah.
An NT. A nice try.
Yeah, NT's in the chat, guys. I thought that might actually have been a win for Empire. I honestly thought Dan could have had that. After he shot the air jab, that was the moment of truth.
That was a mess.
Well, the air jab being shot, that was just, Dan is thorough. He knew to expect it. Really impressive stuff because that could have easily been Empire taking that one. Skies with the reload. Unfortunate timing. I guess it didn't really matter in the end. So now we know. It takes about 20 seconds or more, maybe a few more than 20 seconds for you as a 2-armor 2-speed to vault out that CEO window and get the disable. Because it was, I think, about 18, 17 seconds when Dan vaulted, something like that. You need more than that.
10 seconds to go.
Bottom floor kitchen defense here for DarkZero to start things off.
5 seconds to insertion.
I almost killed. Well, I did kill everybody. So from a flawless round to a perfect wipeout,
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
I had to cough right as that action was happening. I'm still a little bit sick. So from time to time, I still get like a little tickle in my throat.
It's always the difficult bit about the Invitationals because it's in February in Montreal.
And this is the driest place on earth.
It's negative 14 outside right now, too.
Feels like negative 27.
Yeah, because it's
Negative
so
20,
dry.
Negative 24.
Can we see details real quick for a second, medics? So I want to highlight something, actually. The only player on Empire who has more than 3 kills with the first half having just concluded is Dan. Look at that. That is one of the biggest reasons why you see DZ starting to break away. Multiple players contributing on the scoreboard. Whereas on Empire, not so much. If DarkZero win this, of course, we'll go to map number 3. If we get to map number 3, it will be Bank. And I just realized that I have been writing my Consulate score notes on my Bank page. So, whoops. I'll correct that later. This is top floor control for Empire. They managed to push the roamers down into the basement. At least the majority of them. I think there might be 2 in bathroom. Yes, Hyper and Eclipse in bathroom. Now this is a really interesting setup. 3 ADSs. This is why they banned Thatcher. This right here is why they banned Thatcher. 3 ADSs and a shield. There goes Eclipse though, because there's an angle from CEO that you could see Eclipse in that position.
That's a nice angle, but
nasty angle. And Hyper will get away because there was a moment there where Dan was not looking at the correct angle. But I have actually never seen that angle employed in comp. That's the first time. And Empire are pulling out all the stops here. That's a really impressive stuff there.
You've still got lots of soft destruction for those operators to take up a home in the antechamber and then, of course, into Piano as well. And that's where the sledging will begin with Hot and Cold down below. He needs to be very wary of the Electric Claw, which I think he might have just blown up with his Nitro Cell.
Yep.
Yes, he did, and that's a mistake. But there goes the Electric Claw on the wall. It's not going to be able to get retrieved. It gets shot, and Shepard now knows it's perfect for him to be able to get in. Hot and Cold has nothing to stop this. Nobody from DarkZero has anything to stop this. And you can see the absolute destruction above. Hot and Cold can't even stop Karzeka from finding him either, as he gets splattered all over the concrete, as that's the second kill for Empire. An opening and a rotate that is being created very late round with 20 seconds to go, and all of DarkZero will now need to scramble as the diffuser is being attempted to get planted down by Shepard, and nobody from DarkZero can stop this. A gunfight over towards Visa Stairs, and then finally they managed to get Shepard, but it's a little bit too late with Hyper there as well. Still an advantage for Team Empire, as well as the diffuser being down. Well, that's a tall task for DarkZero to work against this. It's a jump out and repositioning from the members of Empire, as they now just need to sit and watch that diffuser that's down in front of the white van. But the Maestro wins the fight. Somehow this is now even at 2-2. Karzek is very low on HP, but there's no ACOG, so the distance will at least favor the attackers for now. Skies is putting in so much work, but he's running out of time, and Scyther is very far back with ACOG in hand. There's no way that the Maestro is going to be able to see this. How can you throw this if you're Scyther? He's long-arming it. He's long-arming it. He's only got a second left. You got to get there quickly enough. There you go. Scyther will be able to do it. He picks away at the hand. It was so close. Only a second and a half away from Skies to be able to get that. But Empire will take the very first round they have here on attack.
And the long arm potential is so scary sometimes. That's farther than I honestly thought Skies was going to be able to push it. Good calculation there from Skies that he knew he needed to go for a disable. No way he's going to win a fight on an attacker that far out. Scyther was playing it perfectly, and he locked it out. Skies with 12 kills. Many of those frags, of course, being impactless. The last round, he got, I think, a 3K. Pretty impressive stuff, but it didn't really actually matter in the end. Archives Tellers, the next defense for DZ. They're going to the new site, as it's called by very few people. It's new because it was the most recent addition. They actually added it in, what is it, 2 years into Consulate lifespan or something like that. About a year ago, year and a half ago, something like that.
It was added just before DreamHack Montreal in 2018, because I remember, I think the first time we saw it in a LAN environment was around then as well. I believe it was, I want to say it was either Mocket or Penta that was playing up against Cloud9 at the time.
It's a pretty long time ago.
So yeah, just almost 2 years ago, about a year and a half ago.
Man, time really flies.
Yeah, it's really wild.
Yeah. So to see how DarkZero hold on to Tellers. See what they can manage here. It looks like it's going to be a top floor hold. This is the type of hold that was, I think, initially introduced when the site came out. You're going to try and hold on to admin as long as possible, and then just hold on to the site as well. Maybe have some players downstairs. Some teams try for hard C4 strategies where they'll place just like 4 C4s under the site, under archives, and then they can play B while simultaneously playing A with the C4. Because it's, I mean, A is tiny. If we can look at A, look at that room. It's all soft destruction from below. You can just C4 any part of it. We've seen double Evil Eyes placed in A, and then every defender other than Maestro having a C4 underneath. Lots of different thought processes when it comes to this this site. DZ's playing more of a sphere of like a roam kind of around the site, incorporating bathroom in the middle floor, admin office, rest of top floor.
Yeah.
It's in all over. It's like they're trying to deny Empire from getting to the site in the first place. And then they also do have C4 from below, because you gotta have on this site.
I wonder if there's a mute jammer or a pest helping Skies right now inside of the bathroom, because none of those walls look reinforced, Medics. If you can just look at that and...
No,
there's nothing. He's just sitting in there, unless there's a pest on the doorway that we can't see.
I don't think there is. I think it's probable that they're trying not to let Empire know Skies is there. He can get himself out of danger if he needs to by opening the drop-down with his shotgun pistol, and he's going to do exactly that right now. So he's out of danger. And he could have flanked if he had stayed there and if there was an opportunity to flank, but he doesn't think that there's going to be, so he'll leave because he's going to be preemptive. He's also going to be able to rotate yellow stairs.
Oh my. Eclipse gets spotted out by Karzeka. You heard 2 different weapons actually being worked on, or working on Eclipse there, as he's taken, spotted by the Visa doorway. There's really nothing that he would be able to do. Very, very close. Only a couple meters away lays Dan, who can just walk on in whenever he wants, but he knows that they have to clear out that basement floor before anything happens, because there's still 3 nitro cells that are in the hands of DarkZero, and of course, the dreaded Evil Eye on Consulate duo. It's deadly, let me tell you. Air jab will go on in, which will block off the rotate hole as it's a vault from the Zofia. Down goes the Maestro camera, and down goes the Valkyrie camera that had been pinged way earlier. Dan on top of the table will manage to avoid that Nitro cell, and Empire have great coverage right now. Skies finally spotted, and Mozzie not able to do much. Hyper missing his shots against Scyther, but Hot and Cold finds 2. That C4 goes off at the right time. Diffuser goes down as well, so this is trouble for DarkZero, and the advantage favors Empire in terms of numbers and the objective as well. 2 rounds in a row where Empire have been spectacular, and that's a beautiful shot from Joystick, just picking away. There's an air jab that will stop Mint from going on in. No, apparently it's taken care of, but he's not going to be able to get more than 1 kill for Empire, as Joystick gets Mint after Mint stat pads by removing Shepard from the round, and it's 4-4, these teams ever so close.
Really great job there from Empire, securing control of the site and forcing their way in there. It's a tactical timeout here from DarkZero. You can see the admin starting the timer and giving the thumbs up to BC to talk to his squad. BC is going to need to impart some wisdom here, as DZ was in the lead, and now suddenly they're not. 2 in a row from Empire puts it at an even 4-4. That's dangerous. BC is going to try and stop the bleeding, try to put his team back in the lead. You can see everyone on that team just attentively listening to their coach.
I'm not even really sure what all is going wrong for DarkZero on those defenses. I mean, they get caught out, but Empire were very good at being able to locate them and just punish them. I don't know if DarkZero just aren't supporting each other or not. It kind of looks that way.
Partially that, maybe. The setups are being well read from Empire. I think Empire is just finding the weakest link in the defense, and they're seizing upon it. You saw the way that DZ set up there. They were trying to go for a trap strategy on tellers, which is just the most common setup for that. C4s from below, Evil Eyes in the site, some flank potential on the roamers. Roamers playing in positions that are hard to deal with, hard to find in the first place. Skies was playing in bathroom in the middle floor. I mean, nobody from Empire ever droned that. He could have potentially flanked and done some work, but Empire didn't expose themselves to that. They weren't attacking in a way that was vulnerable to that kind of flank. Empire found the quickest route to the site, said, we don't care about your trap strategy, and they just attacked straight into tellers. Then when DZ rotates to deal with that, DZ is caught because Empire is ready for those rotations. I don't know. For me, it just seems like Empire knows what to expect, and they don't care. They're confronting DZ head on, and then DZ is losing those fights. There is a lot of, and you made a good assessment earlier. There is not a lot of DZ working together. There's also a lot of little unlucky things. Like, remember that the Zofia in the last round?
Yes.
Pushing into Teller, C4 underneath. That C4 detonated directly underneath Zofia. But because the desk was between the C4 and the Zofia, no damage incurred from Dan. I mean, that's like just a tiny little unlucky thing. You know what that is? That's Dan pressed spacebar, vaulted onto the desk, and got away from that C4 right before it detonated. And, you know, that's not really on DZ. That's just, it happens, you know?
That's history somewhat repeating itself as well. When we said that DarkZero couldn't catch a break in the FaZe Clan matchup yesterday, so...
Oh, that C4 was so close.
Close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, Michael. Neither of those are in this game. Actually, hand grenades are in this game, I guess.
I feel like there's a horseshoe or two on a map somewhere.
Probably Outback.
Probably Outback. That was my first thought, too, yeah.
I don't know. Design team, are you there? Can you hear?
They're gonna be here, probably.
We'll ask them.
At the main event, yeah.
We'll ask them.
Probably not actually going to, but...
No, we'll definitely forgot.
Yep, 100%. Got so much Siege to play, so much Siege to watch and cast and all those things. Empire again attacking onto Teller's archives here. DZ, they think they can fix the mistakes they had the last round. They did place one more Evil Eye in Tellers, so that is an adaptation. I noticed that. At least they moved their Evil Eye. I don't know if they actually put both of them in there. There's the one between the windows. And is the other in here as well? Yes, indeed, in the same spot it was last time. So, yeah, they added both of the, put both of the Evil Eyes in there. Maybe that will give some more information to the DZ guys, because they did lose info on tellers. That was a big thing.
Yes.
Prevented them from landing their C4s. Also lost the Valkyrie cams. Looks like Eclipse is also going to play Insight. He's used his C4, so is Hyper. Only 2 C4s left.
The castle was more of a hindrance as well, so I can understand why DarkZero would move away from that, especially when Mint tried to come back to the site. Ooh. What a shot from Eclipse onto Dan. Just drags on down, and that slug absolutely demolishes Dan. Opening pick for DarkZero with a minute to go, and some destructive work from above, trying to capitalize off of all the marks that are going down and maybe do some following up. And that's Shepard doing just that. Onto the Kaid of Eclipse that's down below. Instead of a castle barricade, it's an air jab, and a second one gets deployed inside of the site. So anybody who comes up those Visa stairs or tries to go through the double doorway from Visa stairs is in significant trouble. No Ace Guys is going to win that. Joystick doesn't even take a single point of damage, and now Empire find themselves with an advantage of their own in terms of numbers, despite trailing right off the hop.
Oh, it looks like Empire are going to regain that lead, but Hyper's trying to say no, sir, to Scyther. There's also very little time here. The Joystick will find Hyper hot and cold back onto Karzeka. The drop is in. That's the planter, Shepard. He's exposed. Diffuser down. Only 6 seconds left. 2 still alive for DZ. It's all on Joystick to find 2 in 2 seconds, but he can't make it happen as the Valkyrie just waits things out. Empire just barely missing out on that. DarkZero will take back the lead and stop the bleeding. A great call from BC. We don't know what it was during the timeout that was set, but we can definitely attribute some of that round victory to BC's shot calling.
Yeah, and it was the right time to take that timeout. The tactical timeout that was taken by DarkZero netted them an immediate round victory in map 1, but that was not enough when they were facing DarkZero coming back. So DarkZero was able to win 2 after that and win the map. You have to hope that this time it's more than just a single round that you're able to take, because, well, there's still 3 rounds left before overtime. This could be it for DarkZero. There is, you know, there might not be another opportunity. This is map 2. You're already down 1-0.
Attackers need to locate.
It's definitely very scary here.
I
don't know what's causing that.
I don't know what's causing that.
Yeah,
It seems like it happens every now and then. Like, I'll go to hit the mute button to cough, and then it'll start making weird buzzing noises.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It happened on, that's the interesting thing, is it happened on the other stream too? It's a different setup with different equipment, so I don't think it's necessarily alright. I don't know. We do know that DarkZero find themselves back in the lead, but just ever so barely. Oh my gosh, these rounds have been incredibly close. We're going to be going to the top floor.
5 seconds to go.
I think it's safe to say this is some of the most intense action we've seen so far through this tournament. I mean, it's up there. It's not definitively. I haven't actually seen all of the matches because we've been casting while other matches are going on other streams. By the way, twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. So if you want to go to the top of your URL, take the URL you have right now and you type out Bravo at the end. Another match is going on right over there. You should definitely check that out.
And of course, it's FaZe versus Fnatic, where they are currently tied at 1 map apiece. So if you are a fan of either of those teams, feel free to do so. Also, if you speak Portuguese, there is the Brazilian stream as well. So you can go and listen to that. It's just Rainbow Six BR. So you have Rainbow Six BR, and Rainbow Six BRAVO.
For Bravo.
For Bravo.
Yeah.
So.
You got your choices depending on your language, and there are actually a lot of other languages I think that will be represented throughout the invitation.
What about Rainbow 7?
Rainbow 7, yeah. Can't forget about Rainbow 7.
I felt like that was a real missed opportunity. However,
A bomb has been located.
Rainbow 7 Trench Warfare.
Goodbye to Joystick. The Nomad is not going to be able to do too much as the Mute camped out on his jammer by the vending machines will manage to get that pick at the top of Visa stairs. Empire has control of admin, so they know how close they are to confronting Eclipse, who's going to be given a good boy disguise with the stim pistol. Will give Eclipse a little bit extra staying power. Now playing with the shotgun in hand, but nobody from Empire dares get that close, except for possibly Scyther, who on Repel might be able to pick away if the Mute moves, but the wall is reinforced, and Eclipse is not going to give them anything.
I just want to say that Eclipse just won that fight against Joystick, and that was the most important fight of this entire engagement. That's going to make it much easier for Skies to cover Eclipse's back. The only thing that this hold that we're seeing DZ employ right now is exposed to is the top of Visa stairs. And again, Eclipse winning that fight is massive. It's going to be an explosive use there on the balcony window to try and gain line of sight onto the A-bomb site. And he's done that. Hyper playing the corner. Oh, and he's known. That's easy kill there and a nice pinch from Shepard.
Good night and so long as he had both his back getting shot by Shepard. Eclipse decides to peek, and it's another kill for Shepard. The hard support for Empire is waking up, and with it, team's fortunes are starting to rise. With the dock on the board, you'd imagine there'd be more stim pistols given out. Skies is 2 of them. Don't get greedy. Hot and Cold's so low, and so is Mint. You're going to need to give them a little extra. But no, Skies just catches Scyther as he runs right in. The Sophie of Dan is vaulted in, and he's going to come after the dock, but he knows that deployable shield is a much stronger adversary. DarkZero's not giving them a single thing. Still trying to take care of this dock. Around the corner he goes. The do-si-do, up, down, left, right, and with the timer on the line, Diffuser will not go down. DarkZero holds it off, and they'll have match point now. That timeout looking like a brilliant move by BC.
Oh my gosh, these teams are about as close as it gets. It all started with that kill from Eclipse onto Joystick at the top of Visa. That was supposed to be Joystick killing Eclipse, meaning that there would only be one player from DZ holding Soda. Now, if that happens, it's all on Skies. And knowing Skies, he's going to be able to win that. At least one kill, maybe. But it didn't happen. Eclipse won that fight miraculously. It's a really hard challenge for Eclipse. From Soda Machine onto top Visa, Joystick should win that. And then there's another fight later in the round. Skies getting flanked by the IQ at top Spiral. Skies should not have been able to win that. So Eclipse is winning fights that he shouldn't win. Skies is winning fights that he shouldn't win. That extended hold into Soda paying out so well, despite how well Empire countered it. Because that is exactly what happened. Empire's positioning was counterplay to how DZ set up. Empire did not come at that like a team that's not used to a Soda hold. They came at that well thought out, proficiently, and in a manner which they know what they're doing. DZ's just won the fights. And that's incredible. The way that they won the fights is the most incredible part. At a decisive disadvantage, losing out to that Peaker's advantage, which is still a thing even at LAN. Maybe it's just because we are at LAN that DZ was able to win those fights, but that Soda hold, being as effective as it was, despite the disadvantage those players put themselves at, is what enabled DZ to win that round. And it came close despite that. And that just goes to show how close this match is overall. If DZ managed to win one of the next 2 rounds, we will go to the final map of the series, which will be Bank. But that's an if. Empire could push this to OT and win it in the 2-0.
It is crazy how much that timeout and centering DarkZero changed these defenses. They went from looking restless and lackluster, getting caught out as they were playing like individuals, to being able to now punish anybody that decides to go on in. And I mean, Empire played together, and still DZ was able to isolate 1 or 2 Empire players and get that pick that they need and force Empire to have to change things up. This was actually a very interesting discussion that happened on Twitter yesterday, and I believe it was Meepy, if I recall, talking about Giants Gaming. He said that it's a very static strategy from Giants Gaming. They're not really changing things up. The comparison to Empire was made, and well, what they said was that when things go according to plan, they really go according to plan. But when they start to fall apart, there's nothing you can really do because you don't have those deviations or the ability to adapt. In this case, right now, over those last 2 rounds, Empire's adaptations were not as strong as they are, or as we're used to seeing. And because of this, DarkZero dug themselves out of the hole momentum-wise, found that fire, and now sit on match point. Of course, these teams winning their own map picks is to be expected, and this has been, as you pointed out, a very evenly contested match. Opening pick, Empires, onto Skies, who was absolutely instrumental in the previous round, and now Hot and Cold gets found out and sustains all but a tiny bit of damage. He stays alive because of his focus belt.
I don't think that Empire knows Eclipse is here, because they're playing like they've cleared things out, and that's shocking to me. They haven't droned this I think he's going to... Yeah, there you go. Karzeka completely exposed to Eclipse, who goes for an aggressive play. Good calculation there from Eclipse. Poor assessment of the situation from Empire. Hyper will also get Joystick, who's coming down Spiral. That is a really unfortunate exposure of Joystick, and that'll give DZ the man advantage in the last 30 seconds.
Really impressive stuff now on yellow stairs, as Empire will have to go through the smoke, both in terms of the garage and on the yellow stairs, to be able to do some good. Hot and Cold is very low, so one bullet will take him out. Mint engaging, will Hot and Cold be able to come to the rescue? He decides to push up yellow. There he is. He's in the gas himself. It's 2 kills for Empire to draw back to even. Hot and Cold so low, he sees the thermite, tries to do some significant damage, cannot do it. Oh, he gets downed. This could be it. It's Hyper now in a 1v1 with Shepard going for the plant. Sophia stands herself up. Off the plant she goes, and that's good enough for DarkZero to take map number 2. What a brilliant play by them over the last 3 rounds, and the Russian squad won't be able to put this one away like they did Fnatic. A 7-4 scoreline, a little bit more lopsided than map number 1. We're going to need Bank to settle this.
I really want to know what BC said to his team in that tactical timeout, because whatever it was, it reset DZ, and it put them on the path to victory. DZ taking map number 2, bringing us to a 3rd, and oh wow, was that heart-stoppingly close at the end there. I need a second, because that was a very intense match.
Would you like to rest on my shoulder?
No, I just need to take a deep breath.
Are you sure you don't want to rest on my shoulder?
I'm good.
Whatever, I didn't want you to anyway. A really impressive show of skill between these two teams, and I don't even know if you can say that it's DZ overperforming. I don't know if you can say it's Empire underperforming. I think both of these teams have absolutely been showing up today. There have been rounds where Empire have looked mortal. There have been rounds where DZ have looked mortal. There have been some issues with the teams in terms of coordination, pushing together, forfeiting map control way too early, but overall, I mean, there haven't been that many mistakes being committed by these squads. You look at the FaZe DarkZero matchup yesterday, and I think it's fair to say that both FaZe and DZ were committing a lion's share of mistakes in comparison to their peers. Now, this is very clean Siege.
I do want to say, you said very clean Siege. The way that I want to put it is, and I want you to take this with this particular pinch of salt, one flavor of salt actually. I don't mean to say that these teams are the best in the world, because I don't think that that's really something you can hold as a team or as a player. But I'd say that this is peak Siege, what we're watching right here. The gameplay that we're witnessing is peak.
Yes.
And these teams are going to have days where they play like at a Challenger League level. That's going to happen. It happens to all squads. But right now, both of these squads are currently at their peak, and they are looking absolutely fantastic. And I am so happy we get a 3rd map, because it just doesn't get more exciting than this.
Now, Bank is a map that is going to play out a little bit differently from this map of Consulate, and very different from a map like Coastline. Think about it this way. When you go to Bank, you have to be exceedingly strategic. You have to be very thorough, and you have to have your plan, and you have to stick to it. There's a wide variety of operators that can have a very big role over how you play on Bank, whether you take map control early, whether you go for an abundance of hard destruction, whether you double up on disruption, or you go for just more of a frag-heavy lineup. Now, somebody like Empire, we know that they're likely going to run the same operators they always run. Probably a Sledge or a Baka Zofia, 1 to 2 hard breachers, really depending on how they want to work it, maybe an IQ. They're not going to have a lot of changes of a Capitao or a Jackal, maybe, if they're available. But a team like DarkZero, I imagine that when you look at a map like Bank, there will be tons of flexibility for them, both on attack and defense. We've seen a lot of DarkZero play Bank, Mint on server, Hyper killing time down in server as well, roams on that 2nd floor with Hyper and Skies. There's a lot of things that DarkZero can do here, and if you look at the result we just saw in Consulate, you have Empire now somewhat on their back foot. Not that it really matters that much for them, and that can be enough of a difference when it comes to a map like Bank.
We always say that Empire is one of the better teams at resetting themselves, at getting their mind back into the match. And they are going to have a solid 5 or so minutes between that map number 2 and this map number 3 to do just that, to reset their thought processes and just go ahead and play it like it is a best of 1, because in the end, Bank is all that really matters. You know, it's all in the past. You got to focus on the future and the here and now. And Empire are really good at that.
Yes.
So I don't think that they're going to be discouraged. I think we're going to get more of the same high caliber siege that we've been seeing over the last 2 maps here in map number 3. I just can't wait to get started, to be honest.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be one of the best matches we've cast in a very, very long time. You and I have
Way up there.
You and I have actually watched Green with Envy as other casters have been getting these exciting matches. You know, Rek versus Na'Vi, for example, in Tokonami. You know, and then there was a long period of time where, I mean, I wasn't even casting because I sat out half a season, was it? So. Now it's nice to be back and be into this and still shaking off some of the rust of a LAN event. And now we have this matchup to really kind of just woodshed on and show our strength.
So fun. It's so fun. I absolutely love when I see 2 teams that, you know, you expect to do well coming together and both of them doing well. That's what we're watching. That's, to me, that is peak Siege. Yes. And it's the same thing, like, it's what I expected from a lot of other matches that we watched throughout this this tournament. Like, for example, TSM Rogue. I thought we were going to see some of that exact same juice, some exact same peak Siege, as I like to call it.
Yes,
where,
the juice, of course.
Where both teams are playing at their best form, and we get some amazing competition. Didn't really happen that way. All the maps in that one were kind of lopsided and wonky, and the expectations fall a little flat. And you're always a little disappointed when you see stuff like that. Even if you're a fan of the team that ends up winning in the end, it's always like, you know, could have been better. And this right here, the reason it's peak Siege is because of both of these squads showing up. Both of these squads doing exactly what we expect them to do and playing as well as we expect them to.
Yes.
So that's just, you know, it's just, love that. Love it so much.
Yeah. Empire came to play, DarkZero came to play. Both of these teams need to recenter themselves. You mentioned Empire are excellent at doing that. I don't think DarkZero is bad at doing that either, so I think they'll be able to focus on in.
Yeah.
They centered themselves after that timeout, and then they won the next 3 rounds after they looked quite weak, if I'm being honest with you. They'd given up the opening duels. They'd allowed Empire to plant both times on Garage and Tellers. There's a timeout. Whether BC's able to motivate them, whether they just say, let's try something new, whether we say, hey, let's maybe just bust out strats that you haven't seen before. It's 3 rounds in a row, 2 wins when it comes to that opening duel, and 0 executes from Empire. That's a much different story.
The thing I really want to say is, taking a look at the players' faces, and both Empire and DZ, the tension is palpable. Really, I mean, it's both of these squads, so much pressure on their shoulders right now. We're going to go ahead and get into the match. The final map of the series, it's Bank, with Team Empire starting on attack, DarkZero starting on defense. The ban phase will begin here. DZ gets to ban first because they are on defense. We'll see who they get rid of.
This is the first time that DarkZero is going to be starting on defense. Bank is very even, at least if we can get some statistics on how it's been played over this tournament so far. Because we have, I feel like, seen quite a bit of Bank. DarkZero's very first ban is going to be on a Hard Breacher. Goodbye, Hibana. No surprise there. And then a Capitao getting banned out as well by Empire. So, all right.
That makes sense. Capitao has been well utilized not only by DarkZero, but also just in general, he is a powerful operator on this map. Same thing for Mira. Mira is the type of operator you just do not want to see on Bank, and she can be used really well on this map if allowed to play. Echo also banned out. That has been the same set of defensive bans, I think, for all of these maps so far, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like it's been the same thing over and over again. It's the Echo and the Mira. I think there's a consensus being drawn here on who these teams don't like seeing played.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. I like to call this the FaZe Clan special because for it was like a season and a half, FaZe Clan only banned Hibana and Echo on basically every single map. And then they ran Yuna on Thermite, or Moringa on Thermite, or whoever they had at the time playing that role way back. So it's the 2 Japanese operators, obviously not well loved on this map by DarkZero, and that's why they're gone.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs
Very powerful
as they can.
operators.
Yes,
Now,
and you need to take care of a hard destructor on this map. Playing Bank with all 3 hard destructors available means that as a defender, your life is absolutely miserable. And we have seen teams run a Maverick, a Hibana, and a Thermite in order to just do maximum damage to the structures that are created by the defense.
Mute Mozzie Vigil combo. I mean, it's not even the Mute Mozzie combo anymore. It's the Mute Mozzie Vigil combo. It's about as hard to drone as it gets.
Throw a castle in there for good measure, you know? And then you're cooking with fire.
Right now, this is a pure information disruption strategy from DZ. They are going to roam above the basement. They are going to set up for that middle floor. You can see those drop downs on the top floor reinforced to make the roam easier. Pests and mute jammers placed in that middle floor to make the roam easier. They want it to be as hard as possible to find the roamers upstairs. The drop down that gets opened up is the one into the hallway, the basement. So there is a retreat. It's an open area. Oftentimes, the defenders will open up the drop down in small office. That's the one that's reinforced to your top right, because that is easier to retreat through. There's more walls to protect you on the drop itself. But not the case here for DZ. They choose the slightly more risky one because it's better when they actually get to the anchoring. This to me suggests that DZ is going to fall back much quicker than they might otherwise. That's not definitive.
So, a couple things to note. There are 2 8-7s that you need to remember with this map. When these teams met in Milan on the very first map, they played on Bank and Empire took it 8-7. And then, just yesterday, DarkZero lost this map 8-7 to FaZe. So, when you look at yesterday's results versus Empire in the past, DarkZero has a 0% success rate, and that is really rough for them. Also, DZ just gets spotted in an open area. They make a triple drop down below, and then Empire decides against using the exothermic charge on that hatch on the second floor.
So as expected, DZ falls back quicker than they would have otherwise. The reason, again, likely being because of the drop they decided to open up and their disposition towards Empire, what they think Empire is going to do. Empire have just spent a lot of time clearing up. Didn't waste too much time, only maybe 20-30 seconds more than they would have otherwise if there were no roam, is what I mean by otherwise. But it's still time wasted, and every second has counted throughout many of the rounds in this matchup. So that's fair play for DZ, that they decided to fall back quicker. I think that's probably the right call.
Lots of time being wasted by this Vigil, whose effect is shown on Square on the first floor as the hatch above him disappears, so Hyper will have to head for the hills. Starting things off will be Eclipse, with the Nitro Cell being caught by Scyther, but not in the way that you ever want. Karzeka is headed for the escape tunnel, or dirt as they'll call it, and he'll inch up. You stop for the time being, just watch as flashes go in, and none of them, only one of them actually, will blind the Vigil. Skies is there though, and the SMG-11 in the hands of Mint on server stairs will find somebody as Hyper gets removed from the back of servers by Joystick. You can see that DarkZero is just going to wait for the push from Empire that's going to come over by server, and they'll try to locate the position of Mint. That concussion's going to go off. 20 seconds. Shepard and Mint. Who's going to win? Well, Karzeka will actually. Neither of the people you expected with Joystick from above. Through the railings of the hatch. It's now Hot and Cold and Skies. But Skies gets spelled. Empire are just pinching every single member of DarkZero. And that's a hell of a start for Empire.
Oh, wow. You just don't expect to see it transpire like that. Empire were at a significant disadvantage in terms of positioning and time, about even on the man count, and then suddenly in the last 15 seconds, the guns come alive for Empire. And you said it perfectly, Parker. It was Empire pinching player after player, attacking DZ on angles that just were not being held from the defense, and that's the right way to play it if you're Empire. Joystick and Karzeka in particular, coming alive, having all the kills between the two of them. 3 for Joystick, 2 for Karzeka. Beautiful play there from Empire as a whole. DZ should have won that, period. And the fact that they didn't is going to set the pace for the next few rounds. Another attempt at the bottom floor. We've seen DZ come back from rounds like that before. They did so in the last map multiple times. Will we see them do it again? Again, these rounds, they keep coming so very close. And while that was it 3 people alive still on Empire at the end of that? Maybe I think 3. Well, that was a pretty, yeah, you could say that's decisive. I would argue that many of those engagements could have gone either way, depending on just the smallest amount of variance and the way the engagements ended up happening.
10 seconds to go.
That's really the beauty of this match. Again, a roam strategy from DZ. I wonder if they're going to try and delay longer this time, or Maybe they'll just go for the same sort of strategy.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
I mean, there is a Maverick on the board, and there will be a Maverick on the board for Empire, I imagine, every single round. So Skies on the Kaid is a suspect choice because the Electric Claw is not going to be that valuable on the bottom floor. What it will do, though, as you mentioned, with this roam strat, is delay an awful lot of time before DZ falls back. Now, about a minute 30, a minute 40 was the mark in which DarkZero dropped out of open area on the previous round.
I'd say minute 40.
Are they going to beat it this time?
Yeah.
Will it be a quicker drop? Will Empire realize that they need to get in the building faster? Well, I mean, Dan gets in the building faster and then leaves the building in a body bag. Hyper is there, finds the kill, and then gets in towards open area with Skies.
That was stressful to watch. Hyper making it through the rotation after he had been cut off from above. But luckily for Hyper, Karzeka was not ready to actually cut off that rotation. He just opened up the hole. Electrocall going out to stop the Thermite from opening the drop down easily, which is going to force the Maverick to open the drop down, as you said. What that will do is slow things down, just like you said, Parker, and that's going to give a slight advantage to DZ. It is now coming close to about a minute 40, so at this point, DarkZero could fall back and they won't have done anything better, but other than getting that kill. I'm curious, it looks like, yes, they have fallen back. Empire can now address the site directly, opening up the drop-downs and the like.
My, Scyther gets away very luckily there as DarkZero still has not been attacked just yet. That'll obviously frustrate Empire, but Empire didn't need a lot of time to just absolutely collapse all over DarkZero in the previous round. Well, they're playing in a different setup here. Eclipse is far back, and it looks like it's going to be a vault take, as you can hear the exothermic charge go down, and Eclipse will get out of there, picking it for his team. And Skies now moves over with the TCSG in hand to flatten anybody who decides to drop. There goes an Ash charge from Joystick as he'll head towards the main stairs. A Toxic Canister is expended, and 2 members of DarkZero are spotted in server. So if you go for a vault take, you know that there are at most 3 members of DZ that you're going to have to contend with, and you can possibly keep the other 2 at bay. Some damage being done to Skies on his belly, and Empire will still trail in terms of health. But you can look at DarkZero's side. They're also very, very low.
They're in great positions, though. DZ hasn't lost control of anything just yet. Mint is going to get Karzeka because server still hasn't been taken. Stairs hasn't been dealt with. Joystick trying to push down, but he's basically alone at this point as Hyper gets Scyther. It's Joystick and Shepard in a 2v4. Both of them, though, very far from each other. Like I said, fighting their own battles. The hard destruction is a problem because Elevator wasn't able to be opened. It is being played from DZ, and that's stopping Teller's drop. Meanwhile, Hallway drop is being stopped from other locations. Joystick just pushing his way in through the stairs. Shepard will meet up. It's known that there is a player in Elevator, but there's nothing these attackers can do about it. The plant attempt is in, but 0-0, and with 4 defenders alive, that's it. DZ, a solid defense there, correcting the mistakes they made in the previous round. And I'd say the Kaid, the Roam, it's just all slightly better the way that they set themselves up.
Much better time management from DarkZero. At a minute 30, there had only been 1 person that had been killed. That was Dan. He didn't even get in the building as Hyper took him out. And then you could very clearly tell that Empire needed to hold it all together in a manner that they weren't accustomed to doing. And by losing Dan as your Thatcher, you are in trouble. Now, obviously with a Maverick on the board, you're going to be able to cut through any hatches or reinforcements that an Electroclaw is sitting on. But Dan makes it a hell of a lot easier. You can just throw down an EMP. You don't even need the Maverick in that position. You could just get rid of the Electric Claw and then have the exothermic charge go. Empire stalled out really hard, and instead of being able to collapse on that server with a minute left in the round, give or take, because after the drop from DZ came with a minute and 40 left in the round, in round number 1, you know, Empire were able to get to the server pretty quickly that round. No, by no means were they anywhere near as fast. And I had actually expected Empire to be quicker because they knew exactly what was going on from DarkZero.
Yeah.
But the small adjustments, like you said, that aggressive roam that DZ committed to, the rotate over towards Vault, and then Empire responding by going over towards Vault, and then of course the early pick from Hyper. All of those things came together to essentially stop Empire from being able to take command of that second floor and then first floor like they did in round 1.
The other thing is, I think Empire might have been slightly faster, but then DZ were better at slowing Empire down. That could be why DZ got that initial kill, because Empire was trying to speed it up. They had that knowledge right, and then they got counterpunched. There's so many layers to this, the way that it's playing out, and it's hard to really get that deep into it. But I can say, again, we're seeing some really awesome siege from both of these teams. And it's always awesome to see awesome siege.
Yes. I love how you're gushing over this. You're absolutely gushing over this.
Well, I just like seeing a high level of... I like... You know what? When both teams are playing at their peak, it's fun to watch, okay?
Yes.
You know, because we're seeing... Not only are we seeing new angles, we're seeing an unparalleled level of coordination.
Yes.
It's not... Again, I really want to highlight this, because I feel like people are going to take this out of context.
Yes.
It has nothing to do with Empire or DarkZero.
Yes.
It has to do with the fact that they're both here playing at their best. That does not happen very often, where you have two teams at this caliber playing at their best. And I just love that. In particular, it doesn't matter who the teams are. Okay, just to get that out of the way, because I know I'm gonna get flack for it.
Yes, you will.
I absolutely will.
But I'm here for you.
Yeah, and I'm ready for it.
I'm here for you.
It's par for the course, Parker.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so the way that this is playing out right now looks very much like a box take right now from Empire. There's a good amount of coverage here. Empire has dealt with archives. That means they're not going to have to deal with C4s from below over by square. You can C4 in square. Thermite gets the wall opened up. That being open now, there is a direct route for Empire onto the site. The attack is going well so far for Empire. No actual counterpunches being thrown from DZ just yet. That rotation into archives could be problematic for Dan, but he's setting himself in a way where he can deal with both of those. Ooh, that drone spots out Hot and Cold. That's going to warn Dan of quite a lot of things. Here comes the peek, but oh, bad prediction there from Hotton. He eats a lot of damage. He's actually between Dan and Karzeka in the main lobby. Karzeka's in the main lobby. He's by ATMs, if I'm not mistaken. And yes, indeed, there it is. That's the kill. Hyper does cover, though, and get the refrag.
This is Hyper now heading on in. He's going to see the head for just a second of one member of Empire. He's stimmed up, so the damage he loses will just be superficial. Mint with a C4 connects onto Scyther as you're seeing the defenders right now watching this repel, but beautiful shot from Joystick. That is a nasty, nasty shot to make. Another from Shepard. That one's a bit more routine onto Eclipse, and Empire have control of the back of CEO. 30 seconds left. Mint and Skies both low. A nice shot from Skies as he'll head on over towards that deployable shield, and Mint takes some time to rotate up himself. Dan's got that angle held. He might be able to win this. Smoke comes out. Beautiful shot from Dan, but he's fully blind. Skies will have to emerge from his own smoke, but Dan hits the ground. And goodbye, Skies. Excellent play from Dan, and Empire will regain the lead.
Wow. What an eventful round. So many things going so many different ways. You could see Empire are really happy about that result. Okay, a couple things to note there. One, Joystick's play on North Repel was pivotal to the outcome of the round. I think it was one of the most important things actually overall, because he was pressured not once but twice from the main lobby, and that almost cost Joystick his life. But luckily, there was Karzeka by ATMs to support Joystick the first time. The second time around, we saw DZ push their dock, I believe it was Hyper, into the main lobby, and that should have been a win for Hyper. It should have been North Repel dealt with, but Joystick, he's just better, as you said earlier today. He won that gunfight. Empire put themselves in a winning position. The players sent to dislodge the repel on North were dealt with. And then, not only that, Empire had man advantage. They were able to push into the bomb site quite easily. And the 2 kills coming into Soda Hallway for Shepard, that's another really large nail in the coffin of DarkZero for just that one round. Empire now in the lead here. We'll see how they do as they are going to be attacking onto open area next. I think drone economy is actually highly relevant in this match.
Yes.
Considering how close these rounds are coming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Empire is very good with their drones.
Especially on a big map like Bank, right?
Yes.
With how thorough you need to be with your drone work. I mean, the word thorough I used earlier just in regards to the way that you play this map, but you have to have so much information at your disposal at all times, because you mentioned it yourself. When you drone, there's 5 seconds until that information ceases to be relevant, yes?
Yeah.
So when that happens, you need to A, make sure that you're not losing these drones. You're not going to see a lot of Mozzie play on a map like Bank. Even Mute sees less play than others because it is so large, it is so big. So with that, you need to make sure that all of these drones are in the right spots. Both of these teams are very proficient at droning. That is Empire's greatest strength, is their ability to take the information that they see and then make something happen with it. DarkZero are notorious in online competition for being able to get their drones into very cheeky, unsuspecting spots. So you're absolutely right. And there's very little to stop these drones outside of being shot. There's a time waster and Eclipse on Vigil. We've seen Vigil get played on Bank a ton today, especially in the SSG versus TSM match earlier. But yeah, no, you hit the nail on the head with that one.
I also want to say, guys, this is really important. The drone UI thing, it's new and it's bugged. It doesn't really track effectively. So basically, just ignore that. From my understanding, everything else works perfectly fine. So at least for the drones for now, yeah, put that on the back burner. Hopefully they'll fix it later on. Scyther is gone. Hyper dispatched him using his ACOG. He'll heal himself, actually overheal himself. Now, reminder, this is an open area defense right now, guys. And Empire is still struggling to take control of the top floor. There's only a minute 15 left in this round. That's not a lot for Empire to work with. Mostly, Empire is set away from the building on Rappel. 3 players on Rappel, in fact, right now. Joystick just got off, but still.
This position inside of what appears to be Penta is has been known for quite a while, and Hyper is just lying there prone, waiting for somebody to come up. There's Empire from 2 separate angles. Eclipse tries to slow down Joystick, but a beautiful play. He's absolutely working it right now, looking for a third, and he'll get it onto Hyper. The Doc appears and then immediately gets punished for it. Hot and cold in skies versus Joystick, who is just commanding this round right now. A Conductor absolutely working the symphony. Karzeka on a tiny bit of HP. He's picked himself back up with Withstand, and Empire only lost Scyther at the very beginning of this round. That was it. 20 seconds to go, and they have absolutely everything working in their favor. There's still utility, though, for DarkZero. There's some good guns, but Skies goes down to Dan, so no ace for Joystick. Hot and Cold will need to prove that he is his full namesake, but he's the latter half of the name. Cold on that one. 3 now for Empire, and Joystick, a 4K, absolute marvelous and masterful performance.
I gotta say, that's all Joystick there. The round looked solidly in DZ's favor. The biggest thing is that Empire failed, absolutely failed to take care of the roamers upstairs until Joystick showed up. He's walking up those red stairs. He gets 1 kill on the flank. He gets 2 kills above. And it just looks like he could not be stopped. Turned into a really decisive round win for Joystick. Empire reaping the benefits from that. But DarkZero, a great round, to be honest. A really great round. Their hold upstairs was 9 out of 10. They just couldn't lock it out because Joystick was there fragging out. Now, basement defense for DZ since it's opened up again. DZ has only one, actually, on this bottom floor. It's the only site they've been successful on so far.
They haven't gone to Teller's Archives yet, so they played 3 of the 4 maps. We talked about Coastline and Consulate as being 2 maps because we didn't want to get ahead of ourselves and reference Bank, lest we not need it. But Coastline and Consulate are both maps where all 4 sites really can be played. Now, Penthouse Theater on Coastline doesn't see much play at all, but it is available, and if there's a mirror in play, teams will go there from time to time, but not too commonplace. Consulate, we saw every single site. What a surprise. Bank, we have yet to see Teller's Archives, though I suspect we will see it appear at some point. You are very right at that after DarkZero made that course correction and won lockers, the 2 attempts at CO and Open did not fare so well. And it's been a nail-biter of a match. DarkZero have once again made some changes. They're going with a different lineup and a different rollout here inside of Bank, and I wonder, or inside of Lockers rather, and I wonder how much of this is going to be very similar to what we saw against FaZe, which relied on Hyper playing very far back with all those walls opened up and Skies inside a server, and then eventually Gold making calls for the rest of the team.
I want to highlight something. There is no roam this time from DZ. They're playing a much more standard hold on the basement, and that saved Empire a solid 40 seconds. That's a lot of time Empire's going to have to now conduct their assault onto the site. I don't know that I agree with this decision from DZ. I get why they committed to it. I understand the concept. And actually, wait, can we check Hyper real quick? Is Hyper playing the long angle to deny the seat? He is. Okay, it's this again. Hyper is playing this long angle very specifically to deny the C4 or getting shot mid-air by one of the Empire players. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, generally speaking, on that server rack to the right side, one of the players on Empire will shoot the C4 that is sent to deny the plant in default spot. Hyper's job is specifically to kill that player by server rack, and he's got this angle to do this. We've seen it from DZ once before. It's been highly successful in the past, and as default spot gets opened up, we can see that Empire are going for a default plant. So this spot is going to be very important. Hyper needs to land his shots, and if he does, it could be to the downfall of Empire.
I know Empire say they don't counter strat, but if they did their homework and watched the VOD against FaZe, and they definitely saw this exact strat, or at least most of it, as we currently witness it. Now DZ will just hang on for a wild ride for the remaining 40 seconds. A crossbody shot from Hyper with these bullet holes, and that ACOG will do a lot of damage at such a long range. Joystick is going to make his way through the garage, though, and if he doesn't get caught, then as I spoke too soon, Hot and Cold is there to read him like a book. And that's just another chapter for DarkZero as they look to write the ending to this round. 20 seconds to go. Hatch control from above. Sky's behind a barricade. Beautiful play from Hyper onto the head of Karzeka as Shepard attempts the plant. There's Hyper with another. Down goes Dan. Shepard here's the C4, two of them actually, who he takes out Scyther, and it's a full sweep for DarkZero. Man, Hyper all the way back there. I love to see that level of docking. It's really incredible to watch.
Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. Okay, so Hyper's playing by vault entrance specifically to deny the guy shooting C4 midair, right? All right, that's fine. But the thing about that is that every team and their mother plays by server stack specifically to shoot the C4. So clearly Empire didn't do their homework because they weren't ready for it. DZ gets the advantage there because Hyper picks up both of the players in server who position to shoot C4. Why do they do that? Well, they have to. What else are you going to do to deal with that C4? You've got to go for that angle. It's the easiest way to counter that play. DarkZero knows this. And that's why they're pulling out this strat. That's why Hyper's landing that shot, because he knows how important it is. Empire did not have a response to that setup from DZ. DZ, very well established strategy. Beautiful play from Hyper. And just, I mean, I know they flipped it with they messed up the C4. I know. A few seconds left in the round.
But they traded the C4 for a team kill.
Yeah, exactly.
It worked out perfectly. See, the two C4s collided, creating a rift in the space-time continuum, wherein the bullets from Team Empire warped and killed each other.
Exactly.
So it worked out perfectly.
Not Shepard's fault. It was DZ outplaying Empire.
I sincerely mean that compliment that I paid to Hyper, playing all the way at the back.
Yeah.
He played the long angle, he had the bullet holes, and he had the stims at his availability. A Rook is not going to be able to do that, an Echo's not going to be able to do that. I'm sincere when I say that the dock play was excellent from Hyper. He had the staying power from the stim pistols, and he could engage a little bit more aggressively at the onset while that first stim wore off. Second stim comes in, any damage he takes, he knows he doesn't need to fear too much because he's playing behind the wall through those bullet holes. He was doing excellent work, and he was basically the main reason why all of that came together.
I gotta say, I was hesitant the first time I saw that from DZ, which was earlier during this tournament. But now, I'm much more confident, second time around. That play that DZ is showing us, the way that they're countering shooting that C4 midair, because the whole shooting C4 midair from server stack thing, that's fairly recent. But the way that DZ is playing that angle Hyper is using, that's gonna become standard. It's gonna change the way that counter C4 meta evolves in server on bank. That's a new stepping stone for the meta on this map, and I think that's going to change a whole lot of things after this tournament, or even later in this tournament. Again, reminder, this is a very long tournament.
Yes, they have a lot more matches ahead of them. There's a loser's bracket to it.
I mean, it just goes on and on.
It goes on and on. And for one of these teams, there's still a longer road ahead because they have FaZe or Fnatic up next tomorrow. So it's not like any of these teams get really any rest. One of them will, sure.
Whichever one wins.
Whichever one wins, which right now we are far from certain as to who that is going to be. And Hot and Cold will expend all 80 bullets of that box magazine, I guess you want to call it, onto Karzeka, and the opening pick for DarkZero comes out with 1 minute and 15 still to go. Now, we said that we would eventually see Teller's Archives. We do. And then we see Hot and Cold, the hero from the start of this round, now silenced by Dan on square. Upstairs, Empire will take control of conference, CEO, etc., and then the soft destruction will begin, and this will remove some of the defenders from being able to play in the safe default spots.
Oh, that pass is going to slow down the droning for Scyther, which is going to deny information. Hyper will get Dan meanwhile, and that's going to put Empire at a one-man disadvantage. But Hyper is on 1 HP. He hasn't been downed, but he's very, very low. Eclipse is on 50 HP, which means these 3 players from Empire, all on full, will be in a decent spot, all things considered. There's only 30 seconds left, but as Eclipse gets joystick, things look desperate for Empire. Going for a plant is Shepard. He's got to be covered perfectly from Scyther. There's no denial coming from DZ, and it'll be post-plant. Too late from Hyper, but it doesn't matter. Eclipse comes from the sky, and DZ even it out into a 3-on-3.
I don't even know how you cobble that together if you're DarkZero. And of course, with these two teams, Michael, we now find a 3-3 split through the first half. This game is very, very far from over. Absolutely incredible play from both teams.
That last player on Empire in main lobby took not looking directly into an Eclipse a little too literally. Because he came from the...
No, I thought it was great.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, Lockers CCTV for Empire, their first defense. It's a 3-3, and this is about as close as it gets, and that's been what we've been saying throughout the entire series. You know, this one is deceptively long as well, actually, because it doesn't feel long due to the way that the game has been playing out. But we've been going at this particular match for quite a long time.
Almost as long as our FaZe Fnatic match. It's been 2.5 hours. Or not the FaZe Fnatic, sorry, FaZe DarkZero. Which, by the way, FaZe Fnatic is still going on from what I understand. I have not been told. We can check with production if it is still ongoing and get a score update for ourselves. Not that we want to spoil it, but yes, it is very much still going, and you need to tune that one. You need to dial to that one as well. Tune in.
Yeah,
just watch it.
Rainbow 6 Bravo. That is, you just go up to your current URL directly above you right now. Type Bravo at the end, no, nothing else, and then you'll go to the stream where that match is happening, FaZe Fnatic, and it is just as close, it seems, as this one. I'm not going to tell you anything more than that, but you should definitely check it out.
They're a little farther along in their game than we are, so.
Yes. But I mean, it's a close one. So
yeah.
Definitely, it looks like it is worth checking out. But I haven't been watching it. I've been busy doing this one, so
yeah, you know, we're not watching the other match while this match is taking place. How wild that is. It's not like we have, you know. We actually had that in Raleigh. One of the monitors was the other match.
We did, yeah.
Remember? Yeah, that was very...
So we could just always just look over and check. But that...
Which was great, but then at the same time, I was like, you know what? This match not good. That match good. I won't watch that one.
We did. There was a little bit of that.
I won't watch this one.
It happens, and it's fine in post, but it's weird when you're doing one match and then you have to do it.
All of a sudden, you start casting the other team, and next thing you know, you're like, wait a minute.
Take a look at that. Scyther and Shepard, 1 kill between them.
Not ideal.
Yeah, and we're at 3-3. This has been an incredibly close match. The team contribution on the DZ side is a little bit more even split. And I think that tells a story right there. This could change, though, as we switch over to the second half, and that's where we are right now. Right now, Empire are, I'd say, I'm not really going to talk too much about advantage, disadvantage when it comes to attack defense. Again, this is Bank. Bank is actually slightly more balanced than some other maps. What I will say is that I think that some of those players who are not performing currently are going to have a better chance of doing so in the future.
Yes.
Here comes on this new half. Ooh, that EMP catches the Electric Claw. Well played from Hyper and Houghton. Server drop opened up, and that is going to apply a lot of pressure to Joystick, who is using that shotgun, that FO12, at the top of server stairs. He's got support from Shepard. Both of these players, though, feeling pressure from that now open drop down.
I think they realize how hard it's going to be to flush him out. There goes a flash, and Joystick will just sit back, but he's going to just dance around it. Levels 1, goes for a second. We turn them all to rubble. There goes a Gishmot Mine, just in case somebody goes in. He's fully flashed. Gishmot Mine will stop Hot and Cold from being able to do too much. Pistol comes out, but the FO12 still has bullets in it. Another flash. How many do they have? There's another, and oh my goodness! Joystick buries them alive! Diffuser down as well. Say goodbye. Nobody's able to get him out of that spot.
Here's Skies with 1, but no more for Eclipse. Skies on the main staircase. He's got to put in some serious work. Shepard and Dan on low HP. It's doable. He's got 3 flashes, and he's got a good gun to make it happen, but no, Dan shuts him down. Empire take another round And that'll be their first in a while, actually. First since 4th round, this is the 7th. And that'll be the lead for Empire.
Timeouts still remaining for both teams. Timeouts only been taken by DarkZero, and they've been taken in both matches. Obviously, the coaching staff on DZ realizing that they can pay off. And, well, both times they took timeouts, they had success immediately afterwards, but it was very fleeting on Coastline and ended up winning them the matchup on Consulate. Now, when it comes to Bank, when are we going to see DZ actually take that timeout? Well, there's nothing really to worry about too much just yet. It's only one round on in, and, well, Empire won on probably the most defender-friendly site on Bank, which is the downstairs site, Locker CCTV. So, quickly, to Teller's Archives, Empire will go. They're going to run, obviously, a very different lineup this time. They don't really like to run that Mute Mozzie combo here. Like I mentioned before on Bank, nobody really does. There's no Vigil to stall for time, but they love Valkyrie, and being able to play off this information is one of the greatest strengths that Empire has at their disposal. So, of course, you're going to need those black eye cams scattered throughout the map. The good news for DarkZero is they have a hard counter in that. It's going to be in Mint's hands as an IQ is being brought. He hasn't really had much of an impact today in terms of frags, but as always, he's cool under pressure, and his utility work is going to be far more important for his team.
Locate and defuse the bomb.
See how Tellers plays out for Empire. Limited information gathering on Empire's side. You've got Legion and Valkyrie that's light, though. The band's leaving Maestro still available. Not brought, though. Valkyrie playing inside of open area. Karzeka just going for the fights. He's probably got a teammate on a cam to support him and call out if someone's pushing in through the window or something along those lines. Don't know, but I would assume. That's the only reason he's going to be playing so confidently is because of that information. He's also got coverage from above. As you can see, there is a defender inside of trading. Mint is going to be rappelling up, but it looks like he's just going for upside down rappel. That's Dan, who's trying to support his teammates from above. Joystick as well up here on the CEO roam. So you've got a pretty extensive roam from Empire on this Teller's hold. DZ's trying to confront it head on. Marks on the Valkyrie. Another mark. When is the spray going to come out from Eclipse? He's being patient. I think he's just trying not to give away his position. Secure the kill definitively. Here comes the nade. Is it perfectly timed? Yes! Lands right on Karzeka. And bye-bye to your Valkyrie. DZ now have control of kitchen and open. They haven't cleared out upstairs yet, but that's a good start for the attack.
I was wondering, are they shooting? I was wondering if he was shooting through that wall. It didn't look like it was doing anything to it, but they're just waiting very patiently now. As you said, they've gotten control of open area. So
honestly, sometimes that soft destruction can be a little consistent.
Yes,
I find, and there's got to be some kind of variable that maybe is just hard to account for. Maybe it has something to do with distance with the ARs, but. Yeah, I find that you'll sometimes be shooting through a wall and it doesn't actually destroy as quickly as you expect. Maybe that was one of those times.
No, it opens up just fine.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah. Maybe just one more bullet in that particular area. Mark's coming out. Spray there from, I believe it was Eclipse. And it's only 50 seconds left for Empire to hold out. And DarkZero are kind of running out of time to attack the site. That is a exothermic used on a castle barricade into Archives. I mean, you got to get it open somehow, I suppose.
There's a frag grenade from Eclipse. He's 2 for 2 on those today.
Yeah.
Drops one on top of Dan's head. There's Joystick as DZ springs on into the site. The UMP is only good for 1 kill. Well, let's see what the T5 is good for. Hot and Cold going for the plant, but the Legion is nowhere near close enough to be able to prevent this. So DarkZero will have now roughly 45 seconds to just hang on and sit over top of it. What is Scyther going to be able to accomplish? Well, you can see on the left-hand side, in terms of kills, so far that's nil in this matchup.
Yep. He could get an impactless frag and pad his stats, but he won't even get into small office. Before he hits the ground, Skies will send him away. And, yeah, that's a kind of appropriate, given the name. Now, that is going to even us out into a 4-on-4. And now DZ are looking in great stride after that one. Empire, a little bit of frustration showing through on their faces, actually. I am kind of surprised to see that. Again, I will reiterate, I do not see Empire get frustrated very often, if ever. The one time I do remember was, as we always like to mention, that last Invitational, actually, in the finals.
Not even frustrated, I would say, right?
Just tired, exhausted.
Just very, very tired, yes.
Yeah, And frustration stems from that exhaustion, but I would say that the key is how tired they were. Here, it looks like Empire are starting to get, they are starting to get a little bit of
They look like they just returned home from war.
Yeah.
You know, like you see those old-timey photos from like the 20s or the 10s rather, and then the others from like the 40s where it's like the soldiers are coming home like hugging their loved ones, and you can just see that like the vacant stares.
They've got their head over the shoulder of their loved ones, and there's 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
Not that we're trying to diminish, obviously, the atrocities of war, but they genuinely looked shell-shocked.
And I know
after that match.
It might be hard to tell. For those of you who are newer viewers, you know, Empire is a team that I think when you look at them, they generally do not show much expression on the face.
Yes.
So even a little bit, it's like, whoa, they're feeling something here, and that's a high compliment there to DZ. It's 4-4 though, still anyone's game.
The only other international LAN experience, if I remember, that Empire had prior to that was DreamHack Winter. So that was only their second big performance on stage outside of the Russian league. That's when things, you know, that's when things get tough for them. But anywho, it's tied up. Of course it is. Of course it is. We had 12 rounds in the very first map, 11 rounds in the second, and right now, at minimum, we're looking at 11 rounds in this one as well. Obviously, no overtime has been needed just yet, but on a map like Bank, it doesn't really matter who starts on attack or defense. The first split was an even 3-3. Right now, it's 1-1 for the second split. So, all right. DarkZero can crack this open. Can Empire crack this open? Who knows exactly. Those Valkyrie cameras are getting spotted very efficiently by Mint as he surveys the top of the roof and any other gadgetry that might be in place, such as an ADS or maybe even an Evil Eye Cam, etc.
What an interesting drone, but he gets shot as he was moving it too quickly. That C4 could land on Hot, but I think it was missed. I heard the C4 rip. And yeah, oh no, that's terrible for Empire. A missed C4 from Dan. You just don't see Empire make those mistakes. I very rarely look at Empire and I think to myself, they're losing because they're making mistakes. They might lose this round just because of that missed C4. That could have killed the Thermite.
Yes. So, that mistake could cost them, obviously. You look at the extended loadout here, and there's no secondary utility for any of these operators. Deployable shields, bulletproof, C4s, etc. It's all been used from the defense. There's still Evil Eye Cams in play, and there's still 3 toxic canisters from Shepard. Down goes the Doc as Skies is starting to wake up. He's been very quiet today. He's going to gun down the Doc. So no stim pistols, and Scyther's donut, as they like to call it, will still be there for round number 10. Joystick has also been softened up quite considerably as there's some play from down below, and DarkZero have the coverage that they need. The Jaeger is prone inside of stock. Mint was watching that angle, and now it's Hyper there instead. Hot and Cold wants to inch his way on in. His Eclipse on the window is going to be able to do anything about this. Still, just army crawling their way in. It's a tactical mission for DarkZero, and the smoke will go in front of Houghton, but he'll have to reposition. Dan catches him as he moves. Hyper finishes off the rest of Joystick. A vault from Shepard. He's got no toxic canisters left. A second kill for Skies, as now you see Karzeka with that artillery in hand push up. SMG-11 removes Hyper's head. A rotate from Shepard over to the back of CEO. There's only 2 seconds left. You have to grab the diffuser. Shepard will stop Mint, and it'll be Empire to regain the lead as these teams do a do-si-do back and forth with the Russians on top.
That round should have gone to DarkZero, but they just let it slip out of their hands. Oh boy, was that a close one. There are a couple key things there that happened for DZ. Thing number 1, they failed to clear out Janitor, which is just crazy to me. If you're going for a push into CEO, you have to clear out Janitor. That is a requirement. It is mandated, I believe, when you sign your agreement to play this game. And I'm surprised that there was no attempt from DZ to do just that. They did push the soda hallway up to Janitor door, but it didn't work. And there was one person attempting that. That's not enough. DZ had so much weight to exert onto Empire's hold. They had such a strong man advantage, and DZ did not utilize it to the fullest potential. And that, to me, is pretty crazy, to be honest. I think maybe DZ played a little too safe there. There is a moment where it becomes appropriate to take your man advantage and to just seal the deal. To play for the kills or to play exclusively for the coverage. DZ confused themselves a little bit in that round, and they tried both. We see that happen often, and we see that be the detriment of many teams in the final few seconds of a round. And it was in this case for DZ. They need to be a little bit more concise. They need to draw a consensus among themselves to say, hey, you know what, we're gonna do this, specifically this, and they need to execute that as well as we have seen both these teams playing throughout the entire match. I mean, that's the thing, is that most of this match has been pretty much spotless.
I think what happened was the push up the marble stairs, not spiral stairs, I guess you call them main stairs. The push that came up, that Karzeka was watching, came very, very late. I suspect that the idea was to get that player up those stairs, lose joystick inside of stock trading, which happened, but then have that continue over to janitor closet here, because there was nobody that was focusing on Shepard playing as the smoke, and because of that, he was the one that caused Hot and have to get off of that diffuser and move over. So, and then Dan was waiting for the head of the thermite to pop up and removed it the moment it did.
See, that's the crazy. There's so many little things that went the way of Empire. Really, it should have just been DZ. I think they just didn't have the confidence to use their advantage.
Yeah.
That EMP working out so well for DZ. And it'll clear out the ADSs there were plenty of them there. Ash Charge will get the shield, but not the Guzmat.
I also think the Electric Claw got the exothermic charge on the server,
yes.
so there's one piece of the hard destruction that is lost from DarkZero. Now the Ela that's playing on the stairs joystick is going to be in a rougher spot, but of course we've seen that FO12 just mow through people. Scyther gets called into action, and his next one up is the Sledge. He loses the fight to Eclipse. Those things are both P shooters, but the SMG-11's higher rate of fire does the trick onto Scyther. Joystick has been scuttled down towards the bottom of the blue stairs. He's also lost the top of server. So they try to push him up. There's a frag grenade catch! Oh! You're not getting anybody as you go down. He tries to pull trigger, but no. Eclipse is just soldiering on Guzmat after Guzmat. And now it's DarkZero with the 2 picks to take the advantage in terms of numbers. With 50 seconds left on the clock, they have server control. They don't have an exothermic charge, though, and that's where things will get tricky.
Skies just called out how Dan was trying to hold that main staircase. The positioning from Empire is important, but look at that! Another successful nade from Eclipse. He has just been landing those time and time again through this map, and it's going to give DarkZero a significant advantage. Aggressive play from Dan. He gets one in the drop down, but is refragged by Eclipse, getting his 4th kill for this round. Shepard now the last defender for Empire, and he's got to hold out for 20 seconds. He's got a good gun to do it. Explosive wins on those fights, but it's a post-plant now. And this is looking really desperate for Empire. It's going to look like a 5v5 in a few seconds here. 5-on-5. The pixel angle for Shepard, and down on Hyper. Now a 1-on-2. 30 seconds. Shepard can make this happen, but he's got to be faster than this. He's got to go for the retake. He has no choice. Open rotation there from Eclipse, salvaging Skies, allowing both of these last 2 attackers to play passive. The drop from Shepard seals his fate. There's no way that both of these attackers will peek, especially with drone information. And what a nice try from Shepard, but too much time wasted. And on a 3 armor, it's just too difficult. He gets 1, but he cannot disable that diffuser. DarkZero 5-5 here. They'll keep it in lockstep, as we like to say. And on this 3rd map, this match cannot get any closer.
We're going to go the full distance. We need all 12 rounds, Michael, which means that we've been only 1 round short of regulation, which came on Consulate. A magnificent play to basically get themselves out of the trouble that they had found themselves in. Not accounting for that first Electric Claw to get tossed on up, it gets taken care of, but then the second one that follows thereafter takes out the exothermic charge. So for DZ, you have to fight through a single doorway, and yet they make it work. They have coverage on the stairs, they get a kill from the hatch. Empire gets a little bit too antsy and peaks, DarkZero makes them pay for it.
Protect your bombs from being
and then,
by attackers.
the piece de resistance. Those 2 frag grenades from Eclipse. He has been, it's like they're almost heat-seeking missiles.
Yeah.
He has been training at the school of Brandon Carr frag grenades.
That's it!
BC moves to coach, and he has gifted all of his power and energy to Eclipse. So
Eclipse, the BC disciple, the Nade God himself has descended to teach Eclipse. I didn't even think about that. And you drew the line. You came to the conclusion, Parker. Now we all know.
he has been the frag master. Let's put it that way. So I would love to see, and I hope that this is being tracked, the amount of frag grenade kills from Eclipse that we have. He has 10 kills on this matchup, or at least in this particular map. Overall right now, what are we looking at for kills in this series? We can take a look. 31 kills for Hyper, 32 kills for Joystick.
Oh, wow.
With Hyper at a plus 11 and Joystick at a plus 10. Now, I don't know if that accounts the round that just took place, because the stats do tend to be a couple minutes behind. But my oh my, that is as good as it gets for these players. And the teams are relatively even in terms of their ratings and in terms of their KD. Now, there is match point for one of these teams. At that point, I assume you have to take one of your tactical timeouts. They are available for both DarkZero and Empire. They haven't used them on this map. You don't really have much of a choice. You don't take it and you lose, well, that's that. You take it and you lose, well, at least you tried. You take it and you win, well, your opponent's probably going to take it in overtime, but at least you got what you needed and you are one round closer to being able to close this one out. This is the third map for one of these two teams to go to the playoffs in a couple days. That is what's on the line here, and it certainly feels like a much heavier matchup right now. It does not feel like this is just a group stage match.
Can you believe that this is only the second day of this invitation with so much more, and we're getting action like this? DZ opening up the drop-downs. They've been pretty successful in that endeavor. They've managed to open up the site drop-down and the server drop-down, which means they are now going to be able to apply pressure to these server players. You can see that Empire is unfazed. They will continue to hold on this position. Joystick has lost his shield. He's still got the Gizmat though, and with this FO12, he can still win those heads-up gunfights at point blank.
2 Gizmats rather, so he can do maximum damage with them. He loses the Gizmat that's placed, and EMP goes off. Frag grenade sails through, and he's not going to get any luck against Eclipse. The frag grenade is just a bait for Eclipse to follow up right after, and a nice 1-2 punch from DarkZero to get that opening pick. Now, juggling of his own as it's Dan down below. He's going to lose an ADS, get droned out twice, and he knows that somebody's at the bottom of server stairs. He holds the angle, flashbang goes in, he manages to avoid it, but DZ just collapses on him, and Dan is entombed in the server. He's as good as gone. Still one exothermic charge for DarkZero as well, as they'll open up the wall on Empire. Trails by 2, even though they're tied in this scoreline. Early toxic canister, maybe? No, there's only 30 seconds left. And DarkZero will drop down the hatch. There goes a flash, a follow-up, looking onto the Valkyrie. A beautiful shot from Eclipse, pulls out the SMG-11, a third for him. And he's got all but one left to get the quad kill. It's going to be Shepard. He's been really good in this second half, but the diffuser goes down again, and that's match point for DarkZero in this revenge match. 4 damn kills for Eclipse.
Once again, the man cannot be stopped. If you're wondering who Eclipse is, he's the gentleman on your far right, the tall fellow, and the impressive performer in this match. Truly, what a job he's been doing over these last few rounds. If you're wondering for a little history about Eclipse, he's been involved in the Rainbow Six competitive scene, the North American Rainbow Six competitive scene, for the longest time, since the very beginning. He's been playing this game since the start, and I think it's been a long journey for him to get to this point, but he's looking pretty solid up against one of the top teams in the world, Empire, and DarkZero proving that they deserve to be among those titans and one of those teams that we call top teams in the world. It's a tactical timeout here for Empire. This is the first time they have called a tactical timeout in this entire series, and you can see clearly on their faces that they're a little bit flustered by what's going on right now. Does not bode well that they are going to take this timeout. A lot of thinking to be done. Usually Empire actually just doesn't take timeouts. It's actually an uncommon occurrence for them, if I recall correctly. They do. It's just not as frequently as some other squads.
I believe they did at Raleigh, and if I remember correctly, they took a couple of them at Milan as well.
I know, I'm just suggesting...
No, I know what you're saying, which is that it's not commonplace for them to take it, and obviously they're discussing now Their coach, Razor, is standing behind them and will likely try to lift their spirits up as, well, the scoreboard tells a story. There have been 2 underperformers so far on these teams, with Scyther and Mint being largely invisible from the kill feed, but they've been playing, as I said, very crucial operators from a strategic perspective. And of course, Mint is going to go on to IQ, and when you look at the information and electronic lineup from Empire, well, basically, you're going to see a bulletproof camera from Scyther, you're going to see both of those evil eye cams, and you're going to see all 3 of those black eye cams from Dan. There's plenty for Mint to be able to look at, and if he can call it out, well, with the way that Eclipse, Hyper, and Skies have been performing here on Bank and playing, then Mint doesn't need to get any of those kills. He just hopes that everybody has a really good time.
I'm just happy to be here.
I'm just happy to be here.
I hope everyone has a really good time.
So yeah, that's what Mint would say after this. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
And I'm sure he is. I mean, you know, both Mint and Scyther, yeah, they're not performing very well right now, but as we all know, that
in terms of kills, they're not performing well.
Yeah, in terms of kills. As we all know, there's a lot of other stuff going on that both of these players are, you know, contributing to the team, and even apart from just other things that are being contributed, there's also to be considered past performances and the fact that sometimes, you know, somebody steps up and somebody else has to take a little bit of a step back.
Yes.
That is often, I mean, there's only so many kills to be had. This is as close as it gets, so both of these teams are giving it their all, and you know, one little extra kill here and there for some of those bottom fraggers I'm sure could be really influential for both of these teams moving forward. But that's all just hearsay and theory crafting and all that nonsense and blah blah. What we do know is that if DarkZero take the round, take this next 2 minutes and 3 seconds, they'll win the series, and that'll be that. Empire are fighting for overtime at this point.
So DarkZero looking to go out first in their group for Hot and Cold and Mint. They've never played on the playoff stage of the Invitational. They've never played at the Invitational, period. If you go back to when they were on F3 and then onwards through SK Gaming and now DarkZero, this has been a team that has always fallen just short of the biggest event of the year. They now have a chance to make it into the playoffs, and we'll remind you that the main stage is not stage 2. There will be only 6 of those 8 teams that actually make the playoffs that will be on the main stage. Naturally, DarkZero's chances rise significantly by getting the first seed, because they will be playing a 2nd seed in one of the other groups. And those 2nd seeds will be determined tomorrow in our final set of matches. Joystick will shrug off an explosion down below. There's also been some hard destruction on the CEO panel wall above.
DarkZero have been very slow with this attack. They're getting down to the last minute, and it's dangerous to let this defense linger for so long, as it gives Empire a very strong strategic position. This might just be overtime at this point.
Only 50 seconds left. It sounds like it's going to be another exothermic charge now, as nobody from DarkZero has lost a single step. Looking for the very first pick. They've been incredibly important, and it's actually been DarkZero with all but 3 of the opening duels. They've been exceptional. When you look at the 35 seconds remaining, they're going to have to get an opening pick here, or else it's just going to benefit Empire, and then it's overtime awaiting us. And of course, it ends up becoming a coin toss as to whether they want to do attack or defense, because if Empire wins this, it'll have been a 3-3 split either way, Michael. But DarkZero now positioning on to repel. Eclipse is there. Skies will join him. Hot and Cold's going to try to army crawl his way in. Where's the denial from Empire? A flash will go in. A repel on in from Eclipse. He gets shredded by a Doc. There's Scyther to get a kill. Mint drops Dan. DarkZero picks up yet another from Skies onto Scyther. Hot and Cold will have no problem getting this diffuser down. There you go. Mint with great coverage. And it's IQ to fall from Karzeka. Joystick is down below. Joystick gets spotted. It's Karzeka with only 5 kills. The Alda in hand. And no! Empire will not win their group. You can see the cries from DarkZero. North America has yet another team that will be going to the playoffs. And it's DarkZero's group to take. They'll win at 7-5 on Bank.
A heart-stoppingly close match there for DarkZero, but a win is a win, and a well-earned and well-deserved one indeed. Empire came so close to bringing that into overtime. I'm honestly shocked that they didn't. 15 seconds left, and then's your execution? That's way too late if you're DZ. Not to mention, Eclipse on North Repel with the cover. He went for Repel in. That was so dangerous. It didn't work out. That means one of your major layers of coverage is gone for DarkZero. But it didn't matter. 10 seconds left at that point. Eclipse gone. No North Repel at all. And DarkZero still somehow managed to cover their plan. How did that even happen? Incredible. Empire. Just a little bit of shakiness there.
And you're not used to seeing that from them at all.
I mean, that just doesn't happen.
This is one of the calmest and most poised teams that exist, and this will actually break everybody's bracket, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Not a single person had any team but Empire going out and first overall from the group. So what does this mean for Empire? Well, it actually means a rematch. Empire tomorrow will face Fnatic, where one of those two teams will be the second seed from Group A. The Group of Death alongside Group B is the two groups of death, I guess you could call them.
One thing that I think is really important to highlight, the most crucial thing from this whole best of three, is that Empire, yeah, okay, maybe towards the end it was getting a little bit difficult for them. Maybe they were getting a little bit trippy. But Empire did not play poorly. They came to this match at top performance. They played exceptionally well. Lots of standout performances, lots of big clips for Joystick especially, and Empire as a whole. But DarkZero, they did the same. They came swinging, and they came with the win. And those throws from Eclipse with the nades were a big part of the contributing factors that actually allowed DarkZero to win this. However, overall, my main takeaway is that I think that this is going to build the confidence of DZ on an international scale. We've always seen them come to lands and struggle a little bit. It looks like confidence issues 90% of the time. But this time going up against a team like Empire, I honestly expected the same to happen, where DZ would trip a little bit and fall because they just can't mentally get over that hurdle that a team like Empire imposes on you. Not so. We'll take a look at the brackets.
You got FaZe Clan get knocked out. They actually had one map. So it wasn't just a 2-0 by Fnatic. However, it will there it is. It will be a rematch. Team Empire was able to humble Fnatic 2-0 yesterday. Will we see the same scoreline tomorrow? Well, only one of those teams will make it. And of course, this also means that an APAC representative will last until the final day of group stages. We still need to see Giants Gaming in our next matchup, as they're going to be playing up against Liquid, as it's Ninjas in Pajamas versus MIBR here on this stream, with one Latin America team making it to the playoffs. So far, we've got one European squad, and we've got two North American squads. Who's going to join them? That's the real question. We've had to say goodbye to some good teams so far. There's going to be another one on Bravo that we say goodbye to, but we're going to be saying hello to yet another playoff contender. Who's it going to be? A break, and then we'll come back with our final match here on Rainbow Six.